Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com. All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is Thursday, March 30th, and we have a great show planned for you tonight. Had to kind of start out actually with my favorite song by R. Kelly. I think that was the best song he's ever done. Has a much deeper meaning to me than most people look at it as. So I had to play that to get started. Okay, so with that said, we have a lot of stuff we need to cover tonight. Tonight's show, I'm really looking forward to this because we're going to get into the underworld, the spiritual world, and death. So if you've been with us over the past month, we've taken quite a bit of travel on the all things spiritual. So this kind of rounds out our series dealing with the spiritual realms and spiritual matters. We started out with the Ka and the Ba, the spirit and the soul, and last week we got into spiritual warfare. And so throughout both of those two shows, we kind of touched a little bit on the underworld. So tonight we're going to get deep into what is the underworld, talk a little bit about how our ancestors viewed death and what it is on that particular spiritual realm. Okay, so we are going to do the news tonight. I'm going to just try to hit the high levels because we do have a lot of stuff to cover. We did get rudely cut off last week with Blog Talk. I don't know what the hell was going on with them, but it was a lot of other shows that were canceled last week because they couldn't get on at all. So I guess we were fortunate, although they cut us off at the last minute. So I am going to finish up with the spiritual warfare. I did want to share with you a particular video discussing about energy and frequencies, so we can also once again kind of be mindful of what really everything is about. I know since we are in the physical, sometimes our attention kind of just in general, and this is overall, the world overall is so focused on the physical aspect, but in the meantime, the real power and really what's going on is on the spiritual side, and a constant battle for fighting for your energy, for other demigods to feed off of your energy. So I did have one last video that I did want to share with the family regarding energy and frequency war. So this kind of feeds into the spiritual warfare. So with that said, I know I saw Brother Wendell, so let me bring him on. And then Brother Sean, I think I see you. Whenever you're ready, beloved, you just hit me up and I will bring you on, sweetheart. So let me bring in Brother Wendell. Here we go. Hey, Brother Wendell, how you doing?
I'm trying to figure out what the hell really going on. You know what I'm saying?
What you mean? What you mean? What the hell really going on?
That's just in general. You know what I'm saying?
I know, right? Because there's a lot of shit going on. That's for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm. You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good, beloved. Well, I'm going to jump in the news Uh, shoot, it's just not enough time, family. We be going over so much damn stuff, so I'm gonna try to be efficient tonight. Um, so let me. I'm trying to pick out as much as I can. The good stuff. All right, we had in one particular article. This was off of Before It's News. They are talking about the Anunnaki. And I also put this on the Truth Uncompromised page, and then I dropped it on another brother's page because he's into doing a lot of research on the Anunnaki as well. So this was an article off of Before It's News, and it came out on Wednesday. And so the title of this is Forbidden Knowledge of the Anunnaki Who Came to Earth in Their Flying Machines 450,000 years ago. So it says the Anunnaki was the first very accurate independent movie in a trilogy based in the books of Zachariah Sitchin that should be released in 2007, 2008, and 2009. However, the movie was never released. That tripped me out, Brother Wendell. I did not know that they were planning to make a movie. Okay. And then somebody on the brother's page that I dropped this on, somebody commented and said, yeah, because Will Smith was supposed to be in it. I'm like, oh, hell no, that would have been off the hook. So this article goes on to say that a trilogy about the Anunnaki sojourn on Earth since the arrival 450,000 years ago, the pre/post-flood empires, the departure, and the next return after 2012. And so it says, they actually have a scene that they get from this particular movie that they posted on here, and it shows like the winged disc spaceship. Oh shit! And then they do have a video accompanying it. They have some rare footage of the 3D set that they were going to use with the movie. So anyhow, it goes in 2006, an unknown North American director-producer, John Gresh, started to film what should be the most controversial movie ever, but something happened. The production was mysteriously shut down, and any promoting material got banned from the internet, and all of the tracks of its existence were erased from media. Even the official website of the movie was shut down, as well as the email account of John Gresh. In July 5th, 2006, before the production suddenly was shut down, X Squared Radio were promoting their exclusive interview with John Gresh. Below is an extract from that 2006 interview. The first digital movie in the Anunnaki trilogy by Jaguar Films will set the time and place mankind made its greatest anthropological leap forward. This is the first full-length motion picture to factually show how the Sumerians were influenced to suddenly become the most advanced civilization in the world. Many people still do not know that there were flying machines on Earth well before the Egyptians reached their zenith. Cuneiform writings suddenly appears in many places throughout the world. Advanced knowledge about the stars, agriculture, animal husbandry, I may be pronouncing that wrong, and even social structures is introduced to mankind by advanced civilizations. This film shows how that was done in a way that will write history the way it should have been written in the first place. And then it just goes on to say, don't miss this exclusive interview. Find out how the Anunnaki worked with early mankind, The story behind the trilogy is true. The evidence is stunning. This independent film is about to change the course of movie history. So that was, I guess, an excerpt from that interview with Dude. So it goes on to say, for sure, the trilogy would be the definite proof that the Anunnaki story was true and not a hoax or an urban legend, and it would definitely wake up the people to the true story of human history. Despite TBTB put much effort into burying the Anunnaki story that, I guess that's the powers that be. Despite the powers that be put much effort into burying the Anunnaki story, they were not efficient enough to get rid of the whole data. Thanks to effort of researchers who want to uncover the truth, we have gathered the very rare evidence of this movie in the following videos. You will have a far better idea about why it prevented from being released. Okay, so they have a couple of movies attached to this particular article. Not movies, YouTube clips attached to the article, so you can certainly go on the Truth Uncompromised page and put this article up if you want to get those, listen to those videos, and I'll drop it in the chat. So, Brother Wendell, did you have anything you want to put on that? That tripped me out. I didn't know they had a movie in the works.
Hey, I done already put mine in it.
I know, because you did a hell of a job, and I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to figure out, because there's ways that I can broadcast replays on Blog Talk. So I think I may go back and pull, if I could find a way how to upload it, the Lost Book of Inky series, and start rerunning them. Maybe one day throughout the week, so folk that want to catch up on that, because he pretty much laid out the entire book for you on the Lost Book of Inky. He has some hellified notes on it. We do have those notes up on the Truth Uncompromised website. You can go and get those notes. So I'll keep you all updated. If I can figure out how to upload those replays on Blog Talk, I'll replay them, but they are on YouTube. But I'm going to try to figure out how to do that as well.
Hey,
Go ahead, brother.
You remember in my notes I found a picture of a flying a winged disc spaceship. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. And that's when I just reread the article. I don't know why the hell I didn't notice it the first time I read it. I said, "Oh shit! They even got the wing flying disc spacecraft in there." So that would have been one hell of a movie. But that's okay. It'll get remade. You know, that's just an opportunity for someone else that's not going to depend on the Hollywood machine to get the shit done. Because that's how you got to get information out. You know, I was getting on someone years ago about that was depending on Hollywood for their livelihood, and, you know, basically complaining that they don't tell the proper stories, and particularly they don't tell the melanated stories. And like I told the person, if you really think about it, it's not their fucking job to tell the melanated stories. You know, it is our job. And the mistake that a lot of folk make is that we feel we have to use someone else's shit to do what we want to do. So that's in regards to music. That's in regards to movies. That's even in regards to what I'm doing. If I would have waited on somebody to, quote, quote, fund me, I never would be doing what I'm doing. So what if it's small? You know, the thing of it is, if, you know, your passion is something, then it is your responsibility to make your passion happen. Don't depend on anyone for your passion, and that rather be you getting out a message, whatever the case may be. You just do it on your own. You earn it, you grow it, and just let that be that. So I truly believe that we are moving into the age where that's exactly what will be happening. People are just going to start doing shit on their own and just making it happen. So this will be interesting.
Yeah, I want to say something about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was having this conversation a couple of days ago with some real good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to explain to them what position we're really in.
Mm-hmm.
We have a minimum of 2 generations fail to even try to find out the truth about any damn thing.
That's true.
All they had in their mind was to tell the children, go to school and get a good job. To hell with that.
Yep.
Now,
Get a
I've
good
been
education.
through school. I've been through school and played that little game. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason I did that because I was on athletic scholarship. Other than that, I wasn't going because I knew it was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a minimum of 2 generations that kind of sold us the fuck out.
I agree.
Then you got this generation where now we are able to get all the information that we want.
That's right.
To find out the truth about everything and how we need to proceed. Then we got the generation behind us who are in the midst of all sorts of distractions.
Right.
Question is, what in the hell are we going to do and how are we going to be able to handle this situation?
Yeah, I mean, and I know this is not what some people be wanting to hear, but it is what it is. I mean, I see us coming to that fork in the road where people are either going to be stuck in the current matrix that they are comfortable with, and rather that be because, Jesus is they Lord, or I mean, seriously, or somebody else that promised them XYZ, gonna do 1, 2, 3 for them. Or you got people that, the cars, the booty shaking club, all of that, the bling bing sing. That's what they're more comfortable with. Or you got the Negro peons that, well, I got mine, you get yours. I'm comfortable. I made it in the white man's world. So should you. And then you have the folks that see shit for what it really is. That at the end of the day, all of that shit is a matrix, and you're all in an enslaved system. So that's the way I see it lining up. You're going to have a fork in the road, and people are going to actively make that choice. And I think of it like the movie Matrix. No, I don't want that pill. I want to stay in this particular reality. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Who the fuck am I to say, no, you need, hey, bruh, you comfortable with that? Ain't nothing I could do. Ta-ta.
Yep.
I mean, literally, that's the way I see it. And I know some people, well, we got to help it. Look, if the information is there, and I can only speak for moi, I put as much information out as I can based on the knowledge that I know. I'm doing my part, but you cannot force someone to believe something. You cannot force someone to choose your reality or just the correct reality in general. at the end of the day, it is an individual choice. Let me bring on, I think this is Brother Sean. Let me bring on 470. Hey, brother, is that you?
Yes, greetings, beloved sister. Greetings, Brother Wendell.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm trying to be all right.
Good thing. Good to hear your voice. Okay, so I step off my soapbox.
Basically, the way I see it, a lot of us are trying to focus on moving forward, and we can't because we haven't come to a general census. Now, we as a people, we can't stop together. So how are we supposed to do something together? We're giving all our energy into this system. It's all voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
All we have to do is stop.
Stop giving it to
power
exactly.
over us.
Yep.
All we got to do is stop. If we all just stopped for like 7 days, we shut this whole thing down. All we have to do is nothing for 7 days. I mean, look how many brothers and sisters, niggas, running around doing nothing now. Why can't we do that united for a purpose? I mean, it's that simple. We stop, it dies. We keep all this stuff alive. We keep this system alive.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. We got them happy and healthy in the lifestyle that they want. We're fulfilling their dreams for them. We're not concentrating on our own dreams. We think that we have to sit up and participate in this system, do this whole 9 to 5 thing that they created. Everything was ours to begin with.
Right.
Why we have to pay somebody or work for what Mother gave us?
Right.
Yeah.
As long as we keep this system alive, we're doing it to ourselves. And there's too many of us pointing blame, and ain't nobody picking up a mirror and doing what they're supposed to do for self. If we all do for self, if everybody take care of self, what is there to worry about? If you are doing what you're supposed to do, which you being everybody, what is there to worry about?
Right. Very good point. And you know, Brother Sean, a lot of times what I found, and especially since I started this particular platform, and I even found this in the business world too, when I started making moves in the business world, doing things on my own. That's the first thing I did, reached out to other people who said that's what they wanted to do, that's what they were about. But then when you approach them, okay, I'm going after this business opportunity, it wasn't costing them any money. This was about, okay, tell me what skills you have to make this happen so we can go get this particular contract. I could not find not one person. I take that back. Well, I say for my first couple of contracts, I could not find one person that was willing to step up to the plate. They either had excuses or they really didn't have the skill set. Now let's move into, me doing what my calling is, which is this show. I cannot tell you. I have a bunch of category of people. For the most part, my family listeners, I just love them. They're very supportive. We bounce information off each other. You know, I get emails or whatever with information. I'm like, cool, blah, blah, blah. We're really collaborative. But then I have others that are either be trying to tell you what the fuck to do. Then I have to cuss them out, hurt their motherfucking feelings. Then you have the other ones that, trying to put all of the responsibility on me, like to uplift I'm like, wait a minute, motherfucker, what you doing? Come and listen to my goddamn show. That's all cool. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that, but you not finna be telling me what the fuck I should be doing to uplift the race. What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
Shit. Bitch, matter of fact, what's your motherfucking passion? And then when you start putting it in that light, well, that's what the fuck I thought.
Right.
Everybody wants some benefits, but you don't want to put in the work, then you get what the fuck you get.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day,
goodness.
you're not getting no free ride off of nobody else's back.
Exactly.
So I
goodness.
totally hear. And I mean, literally, Brother Wendell, you get ghetto with people like that, you know, but sometimes it is what it is. I just had to snap on somebody today on some bullshit. Wait a minute. You on my motherfucking shit. You the one sharing my shit now. Why the fuck is my name in your mouth?
Exactly.
Go mind your business. Take care of you. Don't worry about what the fuck I'm doing. That's what you do.
Exactly.
So I know exactly what you're saying, brother. Go ahead on, Brother Wendell.
I can say this. This summer will be 18 years I've been working on my own. I said, the hell with all that shit, because if I need a fucking headache, I can go have my own.
Exactly.
Right, and again, now this is just me, because the reality of it, I'm not here, and I always tell people, you know, I'm definitely not going to get out of my place trying to tell you how to live your life, how to govern you. No. If you are who you say you are a God, you govern yourself, you have sovereignty by divine right. Who the fuck am I to tell you anything? Because if you come at me telling me, I'm going to hurt your goddamn feelings. So don't ever feel that I'm on here trying to, well, you need to be doing. No, I know what my job is. It is to put the information out there as truthful as I see it at that moment. I always say this. This is not the motherfucking Rhonda motherfucking Marie Johnson goddamn church. That's not what this show is about. It is to put the information out there. It is to show you things that I have learned over the years and us to come together collectively as we may. But at the end of the day, each individual, you have your own choice. You're responsible for your own sovereignty, for your own walk of life. And for so long, we have walked this round putting the motherfucking responsibility on someone else. Whether it's Jesus, Allah, Yahweh, Son of Man, some other motherfucker, we put it in their hands. And when you continue to do that, you get what you get, which is nothing. Mm-hmm. Until each person is willing to individually take on their own sovereignty, that's in the physical as well as the spiritual, you get what you get at the end of the day, which is the matrix slavery system. Now, you totally deserve better. That is not your divine birthright. And guess what? You got all the goddamn control. You got it. Not the white man, not Allah, not Yahweh, not Jesus. You got the control. And until you realize that and take ownership, you going to still be waiting on the next motherfucker to free you. So, I'll get off my soapbox. Okay.
And that also includes a lot of these ancient names that our brothers and sisters are re-invoking. I mean, our ancestors left a lot of that stuff alone for a reason. The ancestors made mistakes too, while people keep sitting up saying that we're supposed to honor the ancestors, yes and no. Because in some aspects, we're supposed to correct some of the mistakes that the ancestors made. We can't always just have praise for the ancestors and not realize that some of the ancestors are responsible for the condition that we're in now.
Absolutely. Yep. Great point. Sorry, go ahead, Brother Wendell.
I'm just agreeing with that. Yeah, that's right on.
I know an aunt of mine. Oh man, I love her so much. She told me all of my aunts but this one particular aunt told me, "You watch what I do. I want you to watch what I do with the good. I want you to watch what I do with the bad. And I tell you to watch both because you don't have to repeat the same mistakes I'm doing."
Mm-hmm.
That's what you are to do. And I tell you, that shit stuck in my mind. And it saved me from a lot of stuff when I was going through life. And I'm like, yep, I remember when Auntie, I just saw stuff play out in her own life. So exact same concept you're talking about, brother. You're absolutely right. Some of us are falling in the trap, and I call it the Hotepers. Mm-hmm. Ancient Kemethists, African spirituality, get into Yoruba, get into to Voodoo. Look, bottom line is there's good and bad in everything. All of that information left before us. Let's start with, if you say you are, if you are who you say you are, that means you was back there doing some of that motherfucking time too. When some of that stuff was laid down, you made some of them fucking mistakes too, and probably why you kept choosing to come back to make sure that you cleaned up whatever you messed up. So my point being, we are supposed to be looking at everything with the good and the bad. Take what you need from each situation and keep it motherfucking moving.
Mm-hmm.
But we were never meant to just, okay, well, I'm going to take this genre. Now I'm under Yoruba. And so now you all engrossed in all of that. You calling up these old deities as a savior. So help me to goddamn understand, how's that any different from sitting up in the motherfucking church?
Exactly.
Now, granted, you may have a few more spiritual powers under your belt, but at the end of the day, you're depending on the motherfucker to free you.
Mm-hmm. But in all actuality, how is it they have spiritual anything? I mean, the ancestors fell with that magic during that time when they were at their strongest. So obviously,
True that.
Something was going wrong. That was a battle of gods against gods, because it's going to take a god to take another god down.
Absolutely. And like I shared with the family last week when I caught just the last scene out of that Ghostbusters, and that demigod was, they confronted that demigod and told him, you need to stand down, this, that, and the third. And the demigod was like, are you a god? Well, no. And the demigod just was fucking them up. So the brother said to him, next time somebody asks you if you are a god, you are to say yes. So this is the whole point that I've been trying to get across over the past couple of months is, if you are the divine being that you say you are, then you have to own it all. That includes the responsibility. There is no running behind somebody's skirt. We are in the age, if you are who you say you are, where you're supposed to be stepping up and kicking ass against any of the demigods. Take ownership. And guess what? You can do it. You created this shit. But if you're comfortable with where you are, make no mistake about it, that's okay too. I'm not here to down you if that's what you're comfortable with. But just be real with yourself, because, you know, me personally, now this is just Rhonda's philosophy. I'm not going to sit up and hold hands and, yeah, I know, baby, them white people are a motherfucker. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get on here week after week talking about the white man is the devil, this, that, and the other. That's not what this is about. This is motherfucking PhD level shit. We are gods. I'm not going to get up here and sit up here and complain. None of that. Kick ass, make it happen, keep it moving. That's what this is about. Now, we will be touching on the news just to tie into the age that we are in and for us to pay attention. But make no mistake about it. I don't give a rat's fuck what they are doing, because it don't goddamn apply to me. I make the decision of where I'm at. So that's all I got to say on that. Okay, this is going to be the last news story because, shit, we about 15 minutes in. This is a prophecy that Brother Hemmett, Bobby Hemmett, he said this back in the 90s, early 90s. So those of us melanated, we know that we were like in a crack cocaine era back then, right? And it was predominantly hitting the melanated neighborhoods. Bobby Hemmett said back then that when he was messing around in the spirit world, whatever, that he was given a message that all of the karma on what happened in the crack era is going to reverse. And it's going to start happening in the white community. And that's going to be karma payback from what happened in the crack epidemic era. Now, I don't know if you all were paying attention, but start paying attention to stories that you are hearing about the heroin epidemic that is going on in this nation. Now, this heroin epidemic, it is hitting the Caucasian communities. You talking middle class communities. It's the heroin and the scripts, the prescription meds, and the meth. So I have been seeing this over the last year. Now, particularly in Ohio, it's a fucking epidemic. They have literally named it an epidemic. And now they're coming up with all of these laws to try to lessen the sentencing on crimes that are committed based on folks being strung out on heroin. They're now trying to stand up all of these treatment centers, et cetera, et cetera. So now it's I'm starting to see it in mainstream media. So this is like the second article this week. I saw one in Huffington Post. Somebody posted that. And then today in Bloomberg, it says death and despair in white America. Every week, hosts Dan Moss and Scott Landman bring you a jargon-free dive into stories that drive the global economy. We usually don't think about economics as a life or death subject, but for white Americans without a college degree, there's no other way to describe it. With jobs, opportunities limited, and an opioid epidemic in full throttle, death rates among this group are skyrocketing, an issue that probably helped elect Donald Trump as president. Now, let's back this up. It's not a heroin epidemic. Now it's opioid. Oh, okay then. Okay. All right. Whatever. So just point that out of the bullshit that's playing at hand in here. Ann Case and Agnes Deaton, the married academic couple who brought this issue to the forefront, have just issued a follow-up paper to their groundbreaking 2015 study on the subject. Case returns to benchmark to discuss the latest findings with Dan and Scott and others, offers her omnibus take on what it says for the future of the nation. So I didn't, of course, go into the study and all that. I don't need to go into the goddamn study. I've been watching it for the last year, and I already see what's going on with, they have a population that's being strung out on heroin, and this particular epidemic, this heroin/meth epidemic, is really what our crack epidemic was back in the 90s. And so I'm only bringing this up to say that Brother Bobby Hemmett predicted that as we went into another age, that things would start to shift, and this is one of the consequences of that shift. So start to pay attention to that. I'm going to try to do a little research and see if there are other states that are declaring a heroin epidemic. I do know that the state of Ohio is one such state. All right. So that's all the news we're going to have time to go into. Just real quick, I'm not going to read the article. The Brexit, meaning Britain or the UK leaving the European Union. An article came out with them using laws going back to Henry VIII to get out of that Brexit agreement. Okay, so bottom line, with them getting out of the shit, guess what they had the balls to admit? That they are not a sovereign nation. And by coming out of that Brexit stuff under these King Henry VIII goddamn laws, that they can come from under the statutes. I can't make this shit up in this article. This is literally what they said. They can bypass all the statutes of the European Union and then take back their sovereignty as a nation. So I'm not going to read that entire article, but you can go to Huffington Post. They dropped that today. Again, I'm just bringing this up because this goes back to prove what a lot of us have been saying from the start with the games that these folks have been playing on this physical plane, taking folks' sovereignty. And we're, like Brother Sean saying, we're doing it at a voluntary level. Because if you don't say shit and you keep rolling with it, then you in motherfucking agreement with it. And that's on the physical level and then definitely in the spiritual level. So that's just another example I want to share with you all. Let me go to 661, and then we're going to get started in the show's topic tonight. 661, your line is open.
Hello, family. This is
Hey, sis. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I tried so hard to get back on there last week, but they kept cutting me off.
Yeah,
I said, wow.
It was deep because even before I started last week, oh, wait a minute, Brother Wendell. They saying I-85 is on fire and part of it collapsed.
I-85.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I just got a message.
Where? What is that location?
Let me see. Okay, I'm bringing it up. Sorry, sis.
That's okay.
That's our stomping ground. Let me see here. If I can get to it. I don't think it'll. Let me see. Piedmont. Oh, that's in the heart of the city.
Yeah. That's the only way it could. That's the only way it could be a collapse on 85.
Yep.
Cause you got 85, 75 running together, then it split off.
Yep. That's where it's collapsing.
Piedmont Road.
It's saying a portion near I-85 near Piedmont Road. Yep. Has collapsed after a massive fire broke out under the overpass. Okay, and it was northbound. Well. Yeah. So
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah. I'm trying to picture. I think. Oh hell, I know that's going back towards Buckhead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where it's
at now. When you come from downtown.
Yep.
75 and 85 split off.
Yep. I know where you're talking about. Yep. I know. Oh, dang, that's off the hook. Okay, well, I have to check on that later. Okay, sis, sorry about that. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Got a raspy voice, but I'm doing all right.
Good.
I just wanted to touch on the opioids.
Yeah.
It was on our world news last night. They were talking about, and Oxycontin, Oxycodone was drug of choice that people are being prescribed, and they're getting hooked on it, and then they're going into the heroin. Now, you have to remember what we were in Iraq for.
Yep. They took over the poppy field.
Exactly, Moon. They took over the poppy. And when we were in Nicaragua and Colombia and all those places.
That's how the crack cocaine era got started, and they dumped it off in the melanated neighborhoods. Exactly.
Yes. And now they're dumping off the opioids and the oxys and the heroin in the white folks' neighborhood. And it's our own leaders who's doing it to them.
Yeah.
And
well, they're the biggest drug dealers.
Yep. The biggest drug dealers. They got that El Chapo in jail, but El Chapo didn't do it by himself.
Right. And isn't he dude from Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the coke game, it ain't like it used to be. It's the heroin game, the prescription. So now the only thing, far as I'm concerned, they really got dude locked up is for some weed. shit, for some weed and probably some bricks, but they not moving that much coke like they are that heroin. So that stuff is some smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, because who was the one who took us into Iraq? Okay.
Exactly. And you can ask anybody that knows like an old dope head that's been on dope for like 20-something years, okay? They could give you the I'm just keeping it real with y'all family. They could give you the chronological goddamn order of the strength and strongness of the drug. And they will tell you that crack ain't about nothing. That's like smoking a cigarette now. It is not fire like it was back in the 90s.
Well, they were mixing it for our DNA. That's what they were doing. That's why the potency was so. They were making sure that we got hooked to it because they were cutting in things and manufacturing it to our genetic makeup.
Exactly.
That's deep.
So that's why our people got so hooked on it because it was made for them. When they went into Africa and they found mummies with cocaine in their brains, then they say, I wonder. And they started doing it for us.
Now, I'm finna mess you up with something.
Go ahead.
I know you know, but I'm going to mess up the rest of the family with it that don't know this. Where's the coca leaf grown?
In Colombia, down in South America. And all them places.
So we all agree that the coca leaf is grown in South America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why the fuck was the mummies have coca in their system?
Because they were probably from South America.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Right.
But see, they ain't gonna tell you that. They came from over the east. Remember, way back over in the east. Wait. That's a lie they tell.
Exactly.
But they know where we.
Exactly. That's
why Abraham Lincoln probably was assassinated, because he wanted to recolonize us back to where we supposedly came from, where they kidnapped us from, and that was South America.
Mm-hmm. So very interesting stuff.
I'm gonna let that one go, I'm sorry.
Also, you have to think about them taking control of the poppy fields. That also has to do with their dealings with China, considering that as a nation, through a lot of their religion, they're on the opium.
Right. China had that epidemic.
And they set that epidemic up.
Yeah. So it's purposeful, really, is what it sounds like.
Absolutely. But, the interesting part, and the only reason I bring that up was just the fact that, Bobby Hemming had predicted that back in the 90s, that, that he didn't say which particular drug. He was just told that it would have to be, karma would have to be paid for the crack cocaine epidemic. And once I start hearing about these stories about the heroin and the prescription pills and all of that in the Caucasian communities, I said, oh, shit, I know what time this is.
That's true.
That is true. But see, it's also from a financial standpoint of view, they making money hand over fist.
Hand over fist.
They're supplying them with the drugs. But now they also got this new drug out that brings them back to life when they die from the overdose. So
because they're pumping that hard
instead of them losing
customers. Yep.
Right. Instead of them losing customers, they bringing them back to life to have them keep going at it again until it don't bring them back to life.
Right. Right. So they give us the illusion that it's like a black and white thing, and to a certain degree it is, but in the grand scheme of things, make no mistake about it, when you look in the spiritual realm, these are demigods. Don't give a goddamn who they cipher energy off of. That's what this is about.
Now, I want to also mention, you got something else?
I don't know if Brother Wendell do.
Listen. Let me tell you something. They're claiming that that's an epidemic in Ohio. I want you to remember something. That's just a diversion, because them real drug addicts are all up through Massachusetts and Maine, all up through there. They heavy dope. They ain't heavy dope heads. Yeah, they heavy dope heads up in there. Yeah,
they were on
TV
they were on TV with some of the cases of how her sons went to college and all of a sudden they come out to be heroin addicts. I think I saw it on Dr. Phil or somebody. I said,
Yeah, that's and especially heroin, because heroin ain't no joke. Woo!
No,
that ain't no joke to be messing with. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But what about? You were talking about each individual has to make their own decision how they're about to roll. Now, this is another warfare game they've used against us, because they know we're tribal. We are tribal people, and we need leaders, a lot of us. Some of us have broke away from the leaders because we know they're getting paid under the table to take us down the wrong path. So everybody likes to socialize, and we like to be together as family and groups, and if one goes down, everybody goes down, because they always follow the same, they follow the leader kind of stuff. Now, this is something we're really going to have to learn to start thinking for ourselves, if we're going to get out of this trick bag they put us into. We're going to have to stop being tribal and start thinking for ourselves and questioning everything that that is put before us and not accepting what the leaders tell us, because the leaders are their people in disguise of us.
Agreed.
So that's what I have to say about that. Now, as far as the BRICS thing, I understand, I read some articles, that Trump is going to try to make this a commonwealth. So
yeah, now, I wasn't even trying to go all there, but yeah, I read that too, that Trump was like pumping the Brexit on, saying, yeah, y'all do the damn thing, because that's really what, he basically is trying to do over here.
Right. And that means that Mother Queen is going to be the monarchy over here too. Of course, if the truth be told, they already are.
Right. She's already the monarchy over here.
Yeah, because they're not telling the truth about the history of the darn thing.
Right.
They're not telling the truth that we are still part of Britain.
Right.
And trying to make you feel like you have a democracy or demonocracy.
Right.
Because they wiped out the republic. So
right.
You know what that's all about, bottom line?
Mhm.
They know something going on. They know something going on. They're trying to claim this land. That's all that is.
I totally agree with you, Brother Wendell. At the end of the day, that's what that shit is about. I cannot tell you in the conspiracy quote theorist communities, all of the Caucasian groups that have popped the fuck up, talking about some going back to the 1700s, the New Republicanness. John Dunsford, General, he's the real president. I'm like, you motherfuckers think I'm stupid. Y'all trying to set it up to say, oh, no, we want to go back to the republics. Here's this group of people. No, damn all that, bitch. We know what's going on. At the end of the day, none of that is happening, because let's say that, we as melanated people, we don't have an army to fight folks.
Nope.
Okay? We don't have the economic collective. We really do, but we ain't got our shit together to come together economically, collectively. That's why I say you fight them on the spiritual realm and bring it into the physical. So I don't give a fuck what they say. They could come up with X, Y, Z, elemental P. I don't give a rat's ass. We already know what's going to happen, because this plane is moving the fuck on. And if you're not on the vibration, stay in another low vibrational realm. But it's moving on. That's just the bottom line. So all of these tricks and bags that they playing out with the Brexit this, we going back to the New Republic that, you got to flip it on the spiritual realm. It's the same goddamn demigods trying to re-trick the people to give up your goddamn sovereignty once again to be into the same matrix.
Mhm.
So I'm not interested in none of that shit they talking.
That's true.
But think about it, though, sister.
It was not their independence. They think that was their independence, but it was not. It was their enslavement, but they don't get it.
Exactly. But if you think about it, though, like what you were saying earlier, Elro, about them using that 1800 clause or whatever to bypass things. I mean, if they just going to take things back to the original, we could take things back to the original. We don't have to do no paperwork or nothing. I mean, that paperwork is their bullshit. So,
exactly.
I mean, if they just going to sit up and start sidestepping stuff, then, I mean, we collectively should just sidestep everything, tell them they got to go. I mean, it ain't your shit anyway.
Exactly. So, that's all I have been trying to say, because I think that the problem has gotten so out of hand on this physical plane that the melanated people as a collective feel defeated. Then some of us try to gather together to fight it from a physical perspective. And logically, that does not make sense if you can't get everybody to agree. Just take the shit to the spiritual realm. Do what you got to do. And then in your own little way, don't consent to the bullshit. That's all you got to do. Don't consent to it.
Mm-hmm. They done bought into the fake history of our people that is in the history books. That's what they were trained. So they don't understand. You've got to, if they're not good at this or that and this, so what makes you think that they're good at writing the history books for you? They didn't write the truth.
Right.
It's all indoctrination.
Right. But we know, know that, sister, and it's just a small majority of us that know that. But all I'm saying is that the small majority, and it may be 5% of us, some say 10, some say 5%, but the 5% that know, you do what you're supposed to do. Don't consent, don't buy into it. Work it on the spiritual realm. You keep yourself tight spiritually.
That's right.
Because I promise you, it's already working itself out.
I agree.
We don't have to dog each other, none of that. But go ahead on, Brother Sean.
You have to think that maybe 2.5% of those in the know are the ones actually using that knowledge.
I totally agree. Exactly. So let's say the 5% of us that as a collective know. So you got to mix the agreeables with the disagreeables in that 5%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take the 2%, that's the disagreeables, and I'm going to call them the demigods, okay, that's secretly keeping the matrix going because they're ultimately benefiting from it, okay? So that leaves 3%. 3% do what you're supposed to do. You're God. Mm-hmm. You rule over the demigods. Beat that ass in the spiritual realm and keep it moving. That's all. All right. So we're going to get into tonight's topic, although we kind of started. So, sis, I'm going to leave your mic open so you can continue to join us and put something on it. So last week we kind of talked about the spiritual warfare, and we got cut off at the last minute. And so in that show we talked about the battle between the demigods and their offspring, and how on the spiritual realm they're fighting to keep control of that. And the bottom line is they want control over those realms because that's the highest that they can go. So in an admit to them controlling those realms, they have been ciphering off of energy from other folks. So they cipher it off from the spiritual aspect and controlling folk in the physical realm and aspect. Okay, so the point I wanted to make before we got cut off last week, I wanted to share with you another video that Brother Pharaoh put out about energy and frequency wars. So you got consumers versus producers. Okay, so I found this very, very interesting. I did want to share that with the family so we can get to the point that as we're growing and learning spiritually, you're going on your own spiritual journey. For every physical action that is taking place, there is always a spiritual component. I don't give a damn what it is. If some shit jumping off physically, that's whether it be in your personal life, And definitely the stuff that you see them throwing at us from a public perspective, there is always a spiritual component behind that, because this is ultimately really what it is. It is a spiritual battle for demigods trying to cipher off of your energy, because that's what they have been doing. But those that are awake, that 5%, that's not happening anymore to you individually. So you can look up and see it for what it is. Okay, so let me try to find this video, and while I'm finding that, in case anybody else want to put something on on it. Okay, I know I had this. Oh, this list is getting so long, y'all, and I try to clean up these videos. Okay, I know it's here. Okay. I just hate that. I know it's here. Let me see. All right. Bear with me, family. Every week this happens, and then I get off the air and find a damn video. And it could just be me overlooking it.
You know they mess around with the call all the time.
Yeah, because every time I come on here, I purposely look for it throughout the week. I looked for it to make sure that when before I came on the air, it was here. And now I'm scrolling through and I don't see the shit. And every time it does that to me, that just tells me, oh, you don't want me to play that. So it must really be some powerful stuff. Okay, so here it is. So my part 1 disappeared, so I do have a thunder in part 2. So I'm going to play part 2. This is Brother Young Pharaoh, and let me make sure this is the right thing. I think this is the right one. It is, Energy and Frequency War. This is the second part. I chopped this video up. Here we go.
A tree, the type of seeds we are, you don't wait for somebody else to water you. You water yourself. So with that being said, we self-watering seeds. And a lot of people don't understand that. So they are vibing off the energy, a.k.a. they are allowing society to water their seeds. So niggas don't know how to say, I like this, and I'm doing this because I want to do this. And I'm self-secure, and I'm self-sufficient, and I'm self-productive. Nope. So they say, society said this is cute. I want to do this, and I want to be around what society says is cute. See, all niggas want to do is what society says is cool. If society say football is cute, basketball is cute, wrestling is cute, niggas going to break their neck to try to show you that they can be a part of it some way, somehow. If society says this type of clothes is cute, this type of clothes is cute, this type of car is cute, niggas going to break their neck to try to acquire them assets. And then once they get there, they want to absorb your motherfucking energy for being there because they want your focus. See, when you watch a rap video, niggas with chains on and all of these half-naked women and all of that, you could have did that in private, bro. You could have did that. Watch this. Porn stars have about probably 70% more sex than the average nigga. So you in the video flashing around with women. Some of them you might have had sex with, but the majority you didn't. They're paid models, unless they just giving it up like that to be in the video. So that being said, I'm going to assume that they got some dignity. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, and let's say you haven't had sex with a majority of them. So that being said, you don't see porn stars taking pictures with all the women they fucking. So why are you? Because you're not doing it to say that you're having sex with all these women. You're doing it for what is known as fame, a.k.a. to be an energy consumer because you can't produce your own energy. You're not comfortable in yourself. So niggas who do shit like, let's say flash and boast and all of that type of shit. We're not saying, some people naturally, are let's not say flashy, but they out there. That's just how some people naturally are. But for people who purposely, like rappers, sports players, motherfuckers, they couldn't wait to I bought this $200,000 Lamborghini. They couldn't just wait to show you. Why, motherfucker? That Lamborghini ain't feeding. Why you have to show me that, bitch? Can I drive it? Can I drive it, mother? If I can't drive it, why you have to show me that? Because you want my focus so that you can feed off my energy. It's just like right now, they did the study in regards to people who actually feel happy and sad predicated upon how many likes they get on fucking Instagram. So if a motherfucker get 5 likes, they'll actually feel bad. If a motherfucker get 5,000 likes, they feel like they cute. So you got girls taking, you know, they half-ass, not even half, they 90% naked on Instagram, taking ridiculous pictures because they're feeding off of the energy you're giving them, off focusing on their body. They're not giving you nothing. They're not teaching you shit. They ain't teaching your daughters how to be mothers. They're not doing a motherfucking thing, but being stimulative to your lower chakra. And you are giving them something in return to that energetic stimulation, and that is your focus. So they're feeding, aka being an energy consumer, off you, who is the energy producer. So once you understand this war, you cut the motherfucker off. You stop giving the motherfucker your focus. Okay, so with that being said, family, you have to understand that we are dimensional entities, not subjective entities. We create the experience. We are not subject to the experience. You only become subject to the experience once you forget that you are the creator of the experience. See? You're not subject to this video. This video ain't motherfucking tell you, nigga, cut me on, nigga, or you going to jail. That's subjugation. This video said, hey, if you want to hit me, press play. If not, bye. So we're talking about the law. Whoa. Now you have to think about it. Government. Governing your mind. Mentality. Govern means to rule. Who the fuck is ruling your mind? Because even when we say the law, whose law? Whose frequency are we being forced to adapt to? Why are we subjected to the mentality of a motherfucker we've never seen? You don't even know if the motherfucker real. You don't even know. You don't even fucking know. They say, okay, this lawmaker said taxes is going up. Right. Now watch this. The IRS. The IRS is not owned by the government. The IRS is not even a part of corporate America at all. The IRS is owned by elite Illuminati Zionists, Zion 300 bakers who live way the fuck overseas. So you paying taxes to a nigga in another country, working in a country that they not even in. But you following the law. Well, if the Constitution governs America, how are you paying taxes to a government that's not America? But you follow the law. So you're subjected to the mental frequency of who you fear. And until you get rid of that fear, you will never once again become an energy producer. See, energy producers are fearless people and are open people. And we live in a world full of fear. So the majority of people in this realm have become energy consumers. And they use fuckboy tactics or egotistical means to try to keep you in a fearful state to not become an energy producer. For example, if a nigga say Jordans is hot on his block, everybody wear Jordans. If you say, well, I want some Skechers, instead of saying, cool, bro, get some Skechers, you know, we accept you as a human, as whoever you may be, what they say is, oh, nigga, that's not popping, nigga, that's lame, da-da-da-da, and third, because you're not conforming to what I want you to conform to. So if a nigga say, oh, think this way, and you say, nah, bro, because that don't make sense, how about this? Oh, you's a dumb motherfucker, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 because you're not conforming to their fucked up frequency. So that being said, family, you have to understand fear is the virus given to you for you to accidentally produce energy for the motherfucker who wants to consume it. Because a non-fearful person is comfortable within themselves in regards to the own energy they produce. They don't give a fuck about consuming your energy because I'm too busy eating off my own energy. I'm the happiest motherfucker in the world by myself. I don't need no friends. Nigga, I'm my own best friend. So that being said, people who need and are in need for, they need attention, they need this, they need that, they always looking to be in some shit, they always looking to be in some conflict, they can't, motherfuckers don't know how to leave shit alone, it's just, niggas don't want to, niggas just always want to be involved in something. They're energy consuming entities. And you have to understand they are ruled by the demonic aspect of their own being instead of the angelic aspect of their own being. And what you have to understand is they will produce any situation, even if it's even if it's not just harmful to you, even if it's suicidal and self-destructive to themselves, they will still produce it because they are energetically greedy and they don't know when enough is enough. And these people are the most dangerous people on the planet because they wish to consume so much energy that they have no limits. And when you have no limits how much energy you want to consume, you have no morals. For example, focus on energy, right? Everyone's number one focus in this third dimensional matrix right now that we're in is money. Everybody. $1, they say money make the world go round. The more money, the more power you have. Why? Because everybody focuses on the fucking dollar. And I already did a video in the past on money, so go watch it. And I break down how money was created in the internal frequencies of money. So I'm not going to do it now. But keeping it on my point, right? If I have $1,000 and you got a penny, I'm presumed to be more powerful than you. Why? Because everyone is projecting their energy on this specific object. So what if rocks was value how money is and money was value how rocks is? The nigga if I had 1,000 rocks and you had $1, I would be more powerful than you. So we are still subjected to what the oppressor said we should be experiencing on a frequency level. We are not being allowed to produce and experience our own manifestations. We are all living within the manifestation of another being. We speak their language. We do our research predicated upon their language. We internalize and interpret our history predicated upon their language and their interpretations. We value each other predicated upon their value system. We see our beauty predicated upon what they deem beautiful. We socially construct greatness and weakness, strength and weakness predicated upon their moral values instead of our own, okay? And once again, last but not least, we think what is right predicated upon what they have deemed legal instead of righteous. So right now, they got some shit called trans age, where they trying to pass the law, and they already got a governor. I forgot who the fuck it was. Some goofy ass lady over there in Germany, I think, or Europe, one of the two, said that pedophilia is not a crime. It's a mentality. They trying to pass some shit called trans age, where they saying it's okay and it's natural for you to be attracted to motherfucking minors, and you a grown ass motherfucking man. Get your goofy ass out of here. But if everybody starts to adopt that frequency, then we'll live in a world where a 30-year-old can marry an 8-year-old. And it'll be okay. Just like homosexuality. I'm not bash homosexuals, but it's not natural. But guess what? More people are adopting that frequency. So now it's becoming okay. So now it went from hell no to boys can use the girl bathroom and girls can use the boys bathroom. And you can be sued and in prison for a hate crime. Because now they're saying if you don't agree with our frequency, you must be hateful. You must be hateful. You must be hateful if you don't agree with that which is not right. Surely the unrighteousness of our mind is what is right and exact. And if you don't agree with it, it's a hate crime. Ain't that some shit? So with that being said, family, you have to protect your internal self more than ever in this world. Because there are dimensional fuck niggas. There are interdimensional fuck niggas and demonic entities that roam this plane. And we have to experience it all at one time. Meanwhile, still not negating to experience our own energy. So that is the task that we have taken in order to experience a physical existence in this time and raise the frequency of this space-time continuum as we know it on what is known today as Earth, which is just that name right there is just another frequency of an oppressor. We don't even identify with the Earth in its natural name anymore because we've been so displaced out of our natural vibratory state of existence. So that being said, nobody knows the original anymore. Why? Because frequencies have been shifted so much that everybody has their own piece of their mentality in the original form of spirituality of physical existence, except the original organism who was first manifested in order to physically exist. The African woman was created fresh out of the cosmos to experience this planet Earth. Now, why is this important? It is the African woman who doesn't speak her African language. It is the African woman who doesn't see herself as beautiful in the eyes of being a black, dark-skinned, melanated African. It is the African woman who identifies with the continent of Africa as being a slummed-out planet and as a negative standpoint. It is the African woman who identifies with the frequency of her oppressor being intelligent. These women think if you go to college and you get a good job, you're intelligent. When really you're just a successfully indoctrinated clone who's going to uphold the economy of your motherfucking oppressor. And it's the African woman who has been tricked into being belittled, into accepting oppressive circumstances, such as being in abusive relationships, getting with men who ain't shit, etc. And you know what? It is from the African woman's womb in which the African man comes. So by default, the African nation is outside of our own frequency. I'm speaking to you in this motherfucking video outside of my own frequency. I'm speaking the English language, which is created by the alphabet, which is the alpha beta frequency, which is the two most negative states of megahertz vibratorial resonances within the brain. So I'm teaching you positive information through a negative frequency. So with that being said, we have to reshape and reshift this paradigm. Period. You must go back to becoming an energy producer, but once you do so, you must understand that you cannot become the prey of an energy consumer. Trees give freely, but once the fucking destructive ass entity comes and chops the fucking tree down with a chainsaw, not only is this tree not able to feed all of its surrounding life, not only is this tree not only able to convert the negativity into positivity, aka the carbon dioxide back in the oxygen, this tree doesn't exist its own self. So you cannot allow somebody to kill the energy that you self-produced, aka you cannot allow somebody to kill the relationship that you have rooted with yourself. And with that being said, family, understand how important it is in 2017 to get back to your natural internal roots of being a galactic quantum melanated African, because this entire world has not only been geared against us, the individual people in our life are vibrating at a level that purports them to be geared against themselves. So not only are they geared against you, they're geared against their goddamn self. So these people must be avoided. If they can't be vanquished, they must be avoided. So with that being said, find you a place. SOS. This is the whole point of SOS. Save ourselves. Save your motherfucking self. We not subscribing to no doctrines. We not subscribing to no bullshit. And by we, I mean the righteous entity that exists within our vessels. Because we all are one. We are individual expressions of our quantum self. Every black man is, with a majority of black men are me biologically and genetically. But internally, I cannot agree with a lot of you motherfuckers. But with that being said, for understanding's sake, we are individual expressions of our whole self. The fingers are individual expressions which come together and make up the entire hand. The hand is not the fingers, and the fingers are not the hand. They are individual expressions of the entire object. The fingers are the microcosms, and the hand is the macrocosm. The universe is the macrocosm, and black Africans are the microcosm. And with that being said, family, protect your energy, protect your frequency, and protect your existence. I love y'all. Peace.
All right, family. So that was Brother Young Pharaoh, and that was only part of the video, but that's out on YouTube, and it's called Energy and Frequency War, Consumers versus Producers. So I did want to share that from the last week follow-up when we got rudely cut off on spiritual warfare. Exactly. So before we move into the next topic and getting into the meat of the show, did anybody want to put something on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
He was on point on some things, but if you're supposed to be so conscious and so awake, and then you want to sit up and talk about the use of the language, why are you still referring to everybody as African? I mean, all melanated people don't come from what we know as Africa today. But with all this spiritual knowledge he's supposed to have, he's still stuck on that Kemetic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even look at it that way. I just looked at it that, he may not know that, we were original on this land as well, and we don't all stem from Africa. So I don't so much look at it as him stuck in the Hotepers. That's what I call, some that just stuck into the gotta go back to Africa. I just view it as he just don't particularly know that, we were all over this planet and were colonized, period, over the planet.
But there's no excuse for him not to know. I mean, you doing all that research, how did you bypass that?
Well, I guess that's the point, brother. I guess that's the point. I particularly loved his message, which was, take ownership of guarding your energy. And just realize that that's what this really is about at the end of the day. folks out to cipher your energy. And I loved how he brought into just regular layman language where folk can enter and understand, and especially the younger folks that, you know, fronting on all these material ass things, and the spiritual aspect of it is you trying to cipher somebody's energy.
Right.
Instead of being unique, you are a creator. God damn it, create.
You know, Dr. Phil Valentine said, "He that has your attention has your power." And you have to be careful where you put your attention.
Yes.
Because you're the creating spirit, and they're the suckers. Now, I want to go a little further. If we look at the fact that there was a lot of abductions started in the 1954 when Eisenhower gave the so-called aliens, the reptilians, the power to abduct humans. Well, there's thousands and thousands of stories of them taking women and putting babies in them. I mean, you know, getting them pregnant and then come back and taking the child. So they have to have some human parts of us. And now they imagine now that there's millions of them among us. And they're energy suckers, just like he said, because they tell you really clearly in the straw man about the birth certificate that you have given them your energy and your life's work, property, everything. Because once you sign up to the situation they have going on here, this common commercial thing, then you're willingly not knowingly, of course, giving them their energy. And it struck me that he kept saying, "You give them your energy, you give them your energy," and that's exactly what they say. They're very upfront with it. They're very upfront with it. And so all these people who are you're looking at on TV, and you think they're human or mankind like you are, they're probably clones, or they're also these abducted women's prodigy that they've inseminated, and they're walking the earth now cloaked in human flesh. And they have some of the worst morals on the planet I didn't see in a long time, because they don't have any boundaries. They don't have any boundaries at all. And this is what we are getting sucked into.
Right.
Not me, but, you know.
Right. No, I feel you, sister. And again, that's why I keep harping and screaming and getting on my soapbox, because if you are who you say you are, if you are the older, ancient, melanated being that comes from the all within all, then we are not supposed to be following. We are not supposed to be so caught up in this physical matrix and caught up in a society that is totally against our nature. None of that is supposed to be happening. So we are basically following a younger entity that we are supposed to be showing the way to, not the other motherfucking way around. And that's how we have lost our way and why we can't get out of the trap.
Well, you know, they also said we fell because we wanted to experience the flesh. You know, some of us who fell because they wanted to experience flesh. So this is the trap that they've set for you to continue to experience the flesh. And people get pleasure out of that, just like doing cocaine or alcohol or smoking too much or having too much sex.
Right.
That is experiencing the flesh, and that's a low frequency.
Absolutely. It's a low frequency, and, you know, these particular demigods, and we talked about this last week when we were talking about spiritual warfare, Because if you are who you say you are, and I'm going to keep saying this because I'm being sarcastic, but then on the flip side, I'm being real so we can start entering overstanding. If you are who you say you are that powerful being that came from the all within all. That means you can go anywhere. But you do have beings that they can only go so far. They can't go back to the source, that melanin, that dark orc cloud, or whatever name they want to come up with to call it, because that frequency is too high.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot resonate and vibrate on that level. So therefore, if you getting down with them, going tit for tat, and under their rule, what does that mean? You must be vibrating at a low motherfucking level.
But
because if you wasn't vibrating at a low motherfucking level, that wouldn't even impact you.
You turn it off. You won't even want to see that stuff. You'd be like, whoa, what's up with that?
Yeah, you would see it for what it is. You would see it for what it is and say, oh, okay, well, all right, bitch, well, you know, keep it moving.
Yeah, roll over Beethoven. Okay, don't want that one.
But to interject on the sex part, as far as for that being low frequency, that has to do with intent. Because look, sex magic is the second most powerful magic beyond love.
Yes, it is.
We've just been taught the wrong concept of it, and we go off into it with the wrong thoughts and intent.
Intent,
the intention,
right.
Bring it down.
Men aren't supposed to ejaculate. They're supposed to ejaculate. That's their kundalini energy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? And what happens, brother? Oh, dang, y'all. See, I always have a vision to go one way, but we go another way. But we get to where we need to get, because I've always wanted to bring this up on the show. But now I got a man that brought it up. I didn't bring it up. So what happens when men continuously ejaculate?
Giving away your energy, your life force.
Exactly. Isn't it that semen you're really equal to blood?
Mm-hmm. Each ejaculation is the equivalent of losing a pint of blood.
Exactly. So that's sacred. That's sacred. So we got folk running around, getting it on, well, who the fuck ever, and giving away their life force, because that's what they're essentially doing. Giving away their life force. And now we're getting to the point where some of these young men, they get like, I say 35-ish, are having impotent problems, can't necessarily produce children like they're supposed to produce. And at the end of the day, when I heard this concept, now I heard this concept from two brothers, and I was sitting there with my mouth open like, what? But Brother Sean is making a point. How we are supposed to be using sex, number one, it's supposed to be sacred. And number two, from a man's perspective, they're not supposed to be just shooting off their seed like that, their life force, without a purpose. And if you think back to it, you know, a lot of people think that some of these demigods or the wannabe motherfucking demigods, people in the Illuminati doing all of these sex rituals, you just think they're nasty. No. Well, yeah, they are nasty, but they're really doing it to get that energy, to get that spiritual energy. That's what them sexual rituals are about. So I'm glad that you brought that point up, Brother Sean. We have been so dumbed down as a people that we take something as sacred as sex and we're just throwing it away. We're not even teaching our children how sacred it is. And it used to be the young boys when I grew up that was just out there buck wilding. Now you have, our young women shaking their ass and thinking that's an asset. And that's not what sex is supposed to be used for. So very good point, Brother Sean.
Yo.
Okay. All righty. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're getting into 8:45. Okay, sis, I know you wanted me to bring this up. I was sent an article by sis, and I'm not going to mention your name because I don't want to put you on the spot. I didn't get a chance to ask you if it was okay to mention your name. But I was sent an article from something called Prepare for Change. So basically, this article goes into AI systems, mind replacement, and TI gang stalking. The article is really long, so I'm just going to paraphrase it real high level. I'm going to drop it in the chat room. I'll drop it on Truth Uncompromised. You all can check it out. But basically, and we talked about this last week, actually for the past couple weeks, as we've been on the spiritual realm side of things, about the matrix and how this realm that we are in, and when I say realm, let's be clear, I am talking about the physical realm, Mother Earth plane that we are on, and within this, there is a spiritual component, okay, or the unseen world. That is also a realm within itself. And there are levels within that realm. There's different spirits and entities that are in those particular realms. And the demigods that you hear me refer to are the ones that they cannot go past that particular realm. Okay? But the whole realm within itself, so meaning the realm that we are in now from a physical, spiritual perspective, as well as the universe. When we say matrix, some of us also say it is a hologram or a computer-generated program. So anybody that knows anything about computers, and now, hell, we all should at least know the basic minimum about computers. Somebody had to invent the shit, right? Somebody had to program it. So when you click on it, your little Microsoft project opens. Somebody had to program goddamn Facebook for you to go on and do what you need to do. Somebody had to goddamn program Blog Talk, what we are, you're hearing me through today. Same concept with when you hear them talk about the Matrix or hologram. Same concept. That is something that was created. Now, here is the catch. Here's the game that I'm seeing that's being played. You have some folk out here running around saying that, this evil entity created us and they're all playing us for a fool, woo-woo, this, that, and the third. Oh, okay then. Here's what's really going on. Again, if you are who you say you are, meaning you are a part of the all, and the all is within you. You come from that dark force, that melanated dark orc. Then everything came from that. That includes this realm as well. That includes other realms as well. Okay, so let's be clear about that. But in the midst of that, if you came from the all in all, then more than likely you were a part of creating this particular realm. You created the spiritual realm first. You're kicking it in the spiritual realm. Hey, this is good, this, that, and the third. Then as a collective, it was come together. You know what? Let's experience the physical realm. So you created the physical realm. Okay? And some say that that's when we voluntarily chose to fall. We fell into the physical. We lowered our vibratorial rate to experience what we know today is third dimensional. Okay? So, with that said, when you see these articles talking about, oh, they creating artificial intelligence and they're hacking into your mind, they're doing this, they're cloning that, but, oh, okay, so let's think about this logically. Even if they have an alleged computer program, and I say alleged, that can build these artificial realms to tap into you as a person, meaning your spirit and your soul, and take it over and cipher energy off of you. So then, who are you really? If they, in parentheses, are able to do this to you, in parentheses, are you from the all in all? Are you a creator? Or are you just fucking there? Anybody for the taking? You can allow a less being to do all of this to you. Unwillingly, you're allowing this. Okay, so I'm bringing all of this up to say you're going to start to see a lot of articles, and they're coming up with a lot of movies I see about artificial intelligence, either them trying to recreate another reality and or cipher your energy. You have to enter and understand what that is about. That is the demigods trying to, once again, throw you off of who the fuck you are, to fall back in the trap of I'm the victim. This is what they can do to me. So I'm going to say again, if you are who you say you are, that should not be possible. Okay, so I'm going to put this article out in the chat room. I'll also put it out on Truth UnCompromised Facebook page. You can take a look at it. But they go into pretty deep on supposedly the technology that these other entities have to mind control. And the only thing that really disturbed, because nothing in that article is new. If you watch sci-fi movies, The Matrix and all of that, you'll get the concept. And actually the video that we played last week, actually from the brother Pharaoh, talked about the technology that they're using via CERN to go behind the atom to kind of tap into all of this stuff. So it's basically the same concept, but at the end of the day, if you are who you say you are, how's that even possible for anyone to take your fucking essence? If you are the creator, because you created them, out of the all came good and bad. So how can something or someone take your essence? It's not possible unless you voluntarily turn over your sovereignty. Either you don't know who you are, or you just feel that particular entity is stronger than you. Okay, so I'll put that out there for you all to review. Okay, we're going to move on. Let me see, Brother Sean. I know you sending me. And in case you all wanted to put something on it. Okay. All right, I think, Brother Sean, somebody wants me to bring them on. Where'd you go? Okay, let me look. I'm looking for you, sister. I gotta scroll through. I think. Let me see. Press 1 to get in the queue, sis, because I don't see you in the list. Okay. Now I see 980, so I'm gonna bring 980 on just a second. Okay, 980, your line is open.
Greetings. I want to say I've never had the opportunity to call into your show, but I do listen to you. I work nights, so I really don't get to listen to you live like I would love to. But I love your energy. I love the show tonight. I've been smiling a lot because a lot of the things that you're talking about now, I was talking to Brother Sean earlier, and we were saying the exact same thing. I mean, the exact same thing that you're talking about now, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm just going to say a couple of things. I love the fact that y'all are talking about energy and all of that. Let me give you a little bit of my background. I was raised, my dad was a warlock, and my mom was Christian. I've been talking to spirits, energy, whatever you want to call them, since I was 3 years old. My mom said I played with imaginary friends. My dad said I was tapping into witches. Either way, I don't really embrace titles.
Right.
However, I do speak to a lot of energies. Seems like when people pass over, they come to me because they want me to relay messages to people. And I do it a lot on Facebook. I'll be talking to somebody on Facebook, and they'll be like saying something. I'll say, hold up, you got an ancestor that said this. But what I really want to say, when you're talking about the spirits and the different universes, I travel to the different universes, and I share it with Brother Sean all the time. My daughter transitioned, because I don't believe in death. My daughter transitioned September the 12th. And it was interesting when she did, because right before she did, she said, Ma, you know I'll never leave you. I will never leave you. I didn't understand what she was saying when she said that, because I know energy never dies. But the impact that she has had in my life, I hear her every day. When I get up in the morning, the first thing I hear is, hey, Ma. When I go to sleep at night, she'll say, go to sleep and I'm coming to get you. So I have seen myself in parallel universes, in parallel Earth. I was telling Brother Sean, I call it the fifth dimension. In the fifth dimension, everything is so different. It's like we're still in the physical bodies, but everything is instant manifestation. I mean, if you want a car, it manifests, you know. And I just wish that our people, I like what you say when you say, if we are who we are. See, that's the problem. A lot of our people don't know who they are. They really don't. And I was smiling because I don't know how many people tapped into magicians. They talked about that in the last episode, how some people could go to these different universes, parallels, dimensions, or whatever you want to call them, and they get stuck. And they're saying now that that's where a lot of this mental illness is coming from, because you're in this other parallel universe and you don't know how to deal with it, or if you're hearing these voices. So what I really want to say is I love this show. Keep up the good work. And then I want to address Brother Sean real quick. When you say ejaculation, it's not only men, it's women. Dr. Pookrum also touched that subject. When any of us, the only time you should be ejaculating, male or female, is when you're procreating. Once you have an orgasm and it goes up into your brain, you will always remember. That's what's called going up into the Kundalini energy. It's supposed to go from the inside up as opposed to coming out. So it's not just men, it's female as well. And I'll see if I can find that lecture where Dr. Pookrum talked about it. But keep up the good work. I'm waiting to hear y'all talk about the Underworld, because my favorite master teacher was C. Freeman L., who was Bobby's teacher.
Yep.
So I love him.
Yep. Yeah, I got into him after I got into Bobby first, and then I started listening to some of his lectures, and he had transitioned when I had listened to a couple of his lectures. So anyhow, I was working on a concept, and I was trying to sketch out what I wanted this concept to be, and he came to me like in my head and helped me draw out that concept. And so I drew it out, and I took it to this brother, and the brother put it in like regular drawing for me, and it's bad as hell. And I didn't know what he was drawing out for me. And so, matter of fact, I'm going to pull this goddamn picture, and I'm going to post it, because now I truly get what the picture means, because this happened about 3 years ago, and it really meant the return of the ancient ones. Okay. Now that I know what I'm looking at, but yeah, so that's my story on that master teacher. It tripped me out how he was able to come to me and like tell me no, draw a circle around it. And he was literally talking to me, telling me what needed to be in the sketch, and that was exactly what I was trying to get out. But now that I know what I know, it was even a deeper message than what I thought it was.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing we need to get into. A lot of people, they want to go to these other aspects. They want to go to Oshun, Ogun, or Batalan. I'm not taking anything from them, but they need to know that we need to tap into our ancestors. Like my daughter, she came through me. I know her. I physically gave birth to this child. So when she's manifesting herself to me, because she could go from being energy, if she wants you to see her physically, she could let you see it. One day I had a little low moment, and she was like, "Oh, Ma, you need a hug." And I literally felt her hug me. But nobody's teaching us that we could do that you have that power. So this dumbing down is not just about all this other stuff. They don't want you to know that you could tap into your ancestors' energy, and your ancestors are just as powerful as these entities, Ogun, Oshun, or Batalan, and all of them. I use my daughter. I don't go anywhere else. Anything I need manifested, any work I do with my child, because I know her. I know she came to me, and she's shown me how powerful she is. And we need to start teaching people to go into the aspects of your ancestors. We will put our ancestors on the back burner to give honor to these other entities instead of honoring your ancestors, and they are just as powerful.
Absolutely. Very, very good point, sis. Well, I'm so glad you came and put something on it. Hopefully this won't be your last time joining us. Feel free to join us.
You, it won't.
At any time.
I love your energy. Please keep up the good work.
Beloved. Oh, I appreciate it. So I can either leave your line open if you want to put something on it, or I could put you back on mute. It's totally up to you, beloved.
You can put me back on mute.
Okay, beloved. Okay. Thank you, sis. Peace and love. And I'm going to post that picture. Check Truth UnCONPromeyezed. You, girl, it's going to make your mouth drop. Okay.
I'm getting ready to look as soon as you post it.
Okay. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Okay. All right, so I have an anonymous in the queue. This is 111, so let me bring you on. Greetings, beloved.
Hey, how's it going? My name is David Lane.
Greetings.
Yeah, I got some Underworld stuff for you. When I was younger, I got hit by a cement truck, right? And so I was pretty close to death, and I kind of blacked out of our world, and I woke up in this place, and someone was telling me, "You're the Dover King, and you need to climb this like mountain." And so I did all that. And the elders were up there. I guess they called them like elders or something. They could use a voice or some stuff. And when I got up there, they taught me how to use this voice, which gave me a power. And so I would speak in this tongue. And I don't know how I knew it, but I did. And they told me because I am the Dover King, I was able to use that. And I would speak in this language, and it would allow me to alter, my area. I'm sorry, I just lit a cigarette. So I'm running around, altering reality for like the other kingdoms, showing them the way of the Lord, or whatever they called it. I couldn't remember the name of it. They had a bunch of weird words for it. And then they took me to a place called like Bruma or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very there's like other races that we can't see in this world, but it looks basically the same way out there. And so this race called like Dark Elf was the other one. They're pretty bad. They like enslave us. And they're called like Dwemer or something like that, and they're very very racist group, and they're very against humans. It's not what I thought I would experience on the other side at all. And I really, really do feel like this was the other side. I remember it explicitly, and this was easily 12 years ago. And yeah, I had to help the Emperor get this dagger and discover like ancient dwarves, and I'm telling you that the other side isn't what I thought it was going to be. It's not what we think it is. From what I saw. I know it sounds like nonsense to you. I'm sorry.
No. I'm listening intently because if you don't mind, I just have a couple questions because we're gonna start getting into the underworld. So, how did you know that you were in the underworld?
I was, because it was so real, and when I got shot into that reality, I was near death. I'm lucky to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the only way to explain that. I got sent to purgatory or whatever. I don't know if it was hell, heaven, or what.
Okay.
What it was, you know what I mean? But I can't explain it any other way. It happened so immediately. I woke up there all of a sudden. I had all these memories. I knew what I was doing. So I feel like I visited the underworld, as we call it.
Okay, and that's why and the only reason why I put it to you in that fashion, because over this past month we've been talking about different dimensions, different realms, and hopefully we've been learning what particular, as you astral travel. I'm not sure if you are familiar with that term.
I am.
That astral travel nightly or whatever, and some people astral travel as they are meditating, and then some people have experienced an out of body experience when they were like dead. So they say literally they were clinically pronounced dead, but they went to this other realm, they experienced stuff, and then they had to come back. So that's why I asked you, how did you know that you were in the underworld per se? And then my next question is, do you know who the entities were that you were with that were showing you these different things?
I feel like I did.
Okay.
I knew everything about where I was, and I don't know why. And here I am talking about it now, and I knew everything. I knew I was the Dova King. I knew there was a language. I knew the elders. I knew who they were, and I don't know how. And here I am, still remembering every second of it.
Okay. That's really, really interesting, and by no means do I not believe you, because I have personally astral travel and experience different realms. But interestingly enough, are you familiar with the guy called, because I have some of his material tonight, and if you're not, hopefully you can do a little research outside of this show, but his name is Emmanuel Swedenborg, and this particular dude, he goes back to like the 1700s, and his particular information, he actually had came out of like the Christian church. Actually, he was in the 1700s, and he was out of Sweden, And so I have some of his material that another gentleman on YouTube has been doing a lot of research on, and all of this guy's material, by trade, he was a scientist, an inventor, but he started talking about the realms on the spiritual side. And specifically, he started talking about where he visits these different realms, particularly the underworld, and he saw all of these different realms and how things were split up. So I'm going to get into a little bit of his particular work tonight, and the reason that I'm bringing it in, again, is for us just to start exploring, number one, what is really the underworld? Because the ancestors knew very well what the underworld was. As a matter of fact, they looked at the concept of death totally different than what we look at it today. They knew that death was just another state. Okay, it wasn't the end all to be all, and as a matter of fact, they prepared for death. And if anybody that's studied ancient Kemet, you would know that they, set out to prepare for death. They had very specific things that needed to be done to the body, with the organs, and there was a reason why they wanted it done that way. So when they go to the spiritual realm, they could carry out certain things. So, thank you for calling in with that, because that really puts us right where we need to be with going into the underworld.
Okay, yeah. That I'm glad you didn't see me as nuts or nothing like that, because I've told this to my family. Like I come from a Roman Catholic family.
You would think they would know. What do they talk about? Purgatory and hell and heaven and stuff.
Yeah, right. But they have a specific view of what it is. So my idea is heresy, as they say, and I saw it. I was there. That was real.
Wow. Okay.
We got different names for it. That's why I say I think we have different names for things, but that's what it is.
Well, very interesting. Well, thank you, brother, for calling in. I appreciate it. So yeah, we're going to get into right now the underworld. So thank you so much, brother.
Okay,
Peace and
great.
love.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, you're welcome.
Right.
Okay, so all right, so that was a very good segue. Before I get into that, did anybody else want to put something on it?
Trying to figure out the other side that he was talking about. I mean, to me, it sounded more like purgatory or limbo that he was in.
He could have been. Now, interestingly enough, when we go into this cat, what is his name? And I apologize, because Swedenborg, and actually I got this off of a YouTube channel for the gentleman that just called in. The name of this YouTube channel is Off the Left Eye. Off the Left Eye, and he talks about this Swedenborg, and he kind of breaks up the underworld into the purgatory. He even gives some deities that will take you through purgatory. Okay, that's what this one particular deity does. Literally walks you through purgatory, shows you these different rooms and or houses and rooms within the houses. So that's why when the brother was talking, I was asking him specific questions. Do you know who you were with? Because I was trying to figure out, was it some type of entity that is known for walking folk through the underworld, or was it a spirit guide? So that's where I was going with that. So I'm going to start with, this is going to be off the left eye. And this video is called 8 Strange Places in the Afterlife. Now, again, this is based off of Swedenborg's information, but the way the folks broke it down, this particular man broke it down, I think he did a brilliant job. So let me try to find it. Oh, here we go with this thing. Okay, I think I wanted us to hear part 1. So here we go, family. Great segue.
Who are now spirits, cities similar to the cities in the world. Hence, they have London, Amsterdam, Stockholm, and the rest. The reason that it is so is because every man in the world has, so all of us, has with himself spirits who are in the other life, and these possess the interiors of the man, therefore all things of his memory. They do not indeed see the world through his eyes, but still they see it inwardly in him from his ideas. Hence the ideas of similar houses, buildings, streets, and cities appear to them, and they so appear that it is as if they were the places themselves. Of this appearance a fuller statement may be made elsewhere. Hence it is that spirits who are with men belonging to one city have the idea of that same city. Again, pretty weird. The idea is we're in physical community with each other on this planet, but then we're also, since we are people with a spirit as well as a body, we are in spiritual community, even if we don't know that. He's saying that there are spirits who are with us. They're not seeing the world through our eyes, but they're affected by what we know. The things in our memory and in our experiences affect them, and to the extent that the cities we build here can show up in their world through thought transfer of some kind, right? Hopefully you're getting your money's worth as you clicked on this looking for interesting stuff. I mean, that is the cities are being architected through this kind of flow here. But not only that, there are multiple versions of the cities based on the different kinds of minds that are involved with them. That's why we call this good London, bad London, because Swedenborg described 2 different cities that were like the city of London here, but with differing characteristics. So the first one we're going to look at is a city like London that appeared, it's more toward the positive side, but not all the way up, and it was something that appeared in the world of spirits, which, as he said, is halfway between heaven and hell. So here is his description of London number 1.
I was conducted in a wakeful state into a city situated on a rock, and was led about. That city was altogether after the fashion of London. The streets were similar, the houses were similar, the open places were similar. Thus it was similar from one end to the other, and I inquired who dwelt there. It was said that they were Englishmen from London. The city was very popular. It is also their custom to give keys to strangers, which are signs that they were received. Wherefore also such magistrates are set over them as they esteem, and whom they therefore obey in all things according to their natural custom. By this means all who are in that city are kept in restraint, in unanimity and in society, and are ruled. It was also observed that those who are in cities in the other life can travel through their own city, even when extensive, in a few minutes. For when they think concerning distant places in the city, they are, by means of their thoughts, presented there as if present, although they are in a distinctly different place. Thought there occasions such presence. It also happened so with me.
So he knows from experience. This happened when I was in the spirit. I could travel like this. And this gets back to what we were discussing before. Spiritual distance has to do with similarity of affection and thought. So thought can bring you places. That's how it works. Just like we try to encourage kids to read books and travel to different distant places in their minds, right, through imagination. That the mind is the spirit. So a world of the spirit incorporates these kind of this sort of, you can think about something and be there. That's much more literal there. So that was a London he described. It's not like a city in heaven, it's because he's talking about how people have to be ruled and kept in order, sort of like we have on earth, right? That you have to have laws and government to keep people in line. But it was overall a relatively pleasant place, and he had some interesting details about the people there giving keys to people as sort of a symbol. Again, spiritual world, very symbolic. Here you go, here's a key, you're cool, you're accepted. We give keys here, but it's a little different. You want a dog sit at my house, here's a key for a little while. But but similar symbolism, because the reason we have objects that function the way we do in our world is because of their spiritual significance. Anyway, that's London number 1. But he describes, immediately after that, he describes another city of London with a different feel and a vibe to it. So here it is.
That city about which I have spoken above was situated on a rock at the left. There is also another city of London, which is situated in a plain on the level of the sole of the foot, a little to the right. Here too are Englishmen, and the city is according to the pattern of London. I was there also, and likewise wandered through several of the streets, but no one appeared in the streets. They do not go out except by permission. Men are plundered there. In the middle of the city are the evil, and in the circumference, successively, the good. Sometimes they who are in the middle there appear to sink down, and sometimes those who are there are then overwhelmed. But sometimes that city, with its buildings, sinks and again emerges, and then a few who are very bad are swallowed up. In this way that city is preserved from the contagion of evil. I saw the subsidence in the middle, and the emerging. It was like a flood subsiding.
So the city itself is providing this function of, so obviously it's not a great scene there. People can't walk out in the streets, there's crime, these people are plundered, but there's a sort of function of trying to keep the city from becoming too evil. So that people, just like in our world, to try to keep cities from becoming too evil, we have jails, and we take people, and sometimes rightfully, sometimes wrongfully, we put them in jail, we get them out, we put them in different places, we establish laws and boundaries. And it's similar processes. They're happening in a much more intense way because of the nature of the spiritual world, the whole middle of the city sinking down and coming back up. But it's all to provide some kind of order and to keep the whole thing from being overthrown. So everything dealing with evil is, as we were saying in the other one, is trying to make it so it won't get worse. So even there, it's not like everybody's taken away right away. They're trying to, okay, here you can have a city, there's laws imposed so that there's the least amount of harm possible. Okay, you're causing so much trouble, you can't be here, we've got to take you down even farther. But there's always this effort to provide organization and relative safety, even where people are intent on this sort of hellish mindset, right? So there's the cities in the middle, they're sort of trending up, trending down, and we go on this journey where we go to these different kinds of areas depending on what direction we want to head, and we either can stay or go lower and lower or higher and higher depending on what we love. So that's the scene. So we're going to go lower before we go higher here, okay, because the next one is our last spooky, weird place, and it's definitely a lot of both, all right? So let's take a look now at Hell's Cask. Alright, so this is the story of a giant vat or cask. When I was reading the word in his Journal of Spiritual Experiences, I called up a translator to try to figure out what is he talking about, because it's translated vat or Hell's Cask, and what does it look like? It's a giant container. That's what it seems to be. We looked into sort of like the Latin root of the word and how it was used back then and everything. So whether it looks exactly like a container like we're depicting it, or whether it's something similar to that, it sure does sound, he talks about it having a lid. It sounds like a container. And again, there's all these different levels of appearance. You'll notice he says it seems to them they're living in it seems different to different people. The people that were collecting that dust, they thought they had all this gold, but when you showed the real light, it was just dust. So this is how it seems to people in this state. So here we're going to take a look a little bit at people who are getting pretty absorbed into this hell mindset and what kind of life they imagine that they have. So here's Hell's Cask.
There are some dishonest people who think they can get anything they want by trickery and schemes, and whose success at this kind of fraud during bodily life has confirmed them in their belief. They see themselves as living in a kind of vat called Hell's Cask, off to the left. The vat has a lid, and outside it, on a pyramid-shaped stand, is a globe that they believe to be the universe, which they watch and control, or so it seems to them. When they are released, their hallucinations cause them to imagine that the universe is a globe, which they walk around and trample underfoot, believing themselves gods of the universe. I have seen them several times and talked with them about their fantasy, but since they thought the same way in the world, they cannot be weaned from it. I have also perceived on occasion how subtly, how craftily they can twist another's thinking, instantly redirect that person's thoughts, and substitute other ideas. They are so sly about it that it was hard to tell they were the ones doing it. And the way they do it is quite incredible. As this is their nature, they are barred from all contact with people on Earth, for they inject quantities of venom so secretly and stealthily that no one can tell they have done it.
So there's a lot of stuff in there I want to talk about. First of all, this is a hell of sorts, but you see, he's saying they're barred from interacting with people on Earth because of the harm that they would cause. So this is about preventing harm. That's important, because there are ideas of hell that it's about torture and revenge, right? That's hell is you were bad on Earth, so you're getting punished and punished. This is about reduction of harm and keeping people from getting worse. So you see that there's the people that are in there are grouped by their desire to deceive people and how often they employ that technique. That's how you get yourself into something like that. That it's about mindset, and the mindset is what creates this sort of trap that they're living in. But they don't have to be in it all the time. They sometimes get let out, and Swedenborg can talk with them. He said everybody, even people who are so wrapped up in living this insane life, you can still talk with them. And Swedenborg says, why are you guys doing this? This is crazy. And they just, oh, we can't help it. This is just how we were. And that a life of acting on evil and deception sort of corrodes the mind to the point where it's very hard for you to snap yourself out of it, or very hard for you to want to snap yourself out of it. And I wanted to show this particular one as well, because we sort of in our two videos, the dust collectors and this one, we see sort of the two major roots of hellish behavior, which Swedenborg calls love of self and love of the world. And love of self, that sounds like you're supposed to love yourself. What's so bad about that? But the way he uses that terminology is different. He's talking about love of self is love of control. It's only thinking about yourself and everything. You don't care how much you harm people. You just want what you want. And actually, love of self, when it's let out of its bonds, when there's no inhibition, it wants to rule people. It wants to harm people. It wants to replace God as taking everything in the universe and bringing it to serve you. And you see this in people live in very destructive ways when they only care about themselves. The other love of the world is a love of wealth or of gratification, of pleasure in different forms. So here you have people who are absorbed in love of the world. They're pouring over this money on the table, imagining this is all the wealth in the country and it's all mine. And these people who are absorbed in love of self are pouring over this globe that they have, and they're imagining this is the whole universe, and I have power to trample on this thing, and crush everybody. And that's what they want to do with their time. So that's your career path if you're getting too deeply into these kind of loves, which is, I said Swedenborg had a mission before when he was writing all this stuff. And the mission was to get people to stop living like that and to live in the heavenly mindset instead, because there's such a better future there. So with that, let's take a look at something a little bit brighter. This, again, we've been looking at a few things that have...
Okay. So I cut it off there now. The reason that I even picked up this series and chopped that particular video up, and let me give that reference again for anyone else that wants to go back to his particular channel, because he dedicates a lot to that particular Emanuel Swedenborg, and the YouTube channel is called Off the Left Eye. And this video is called 8 Strange Places in the Afterlife. So, with the gentleman calling in earlier, as he was describing his experience, I was on the same level of Brother Sean when he said, well, I went to the Underworld. And I'm thinking, well, how do you know that you went to the Underworld? Because, as I stated before, we live on a physical plane, and we also have a spiritual plane with different, I don't know if you want to chop it up in compartments or different levels. So you have a lot of stuff that's going on there. So what I particularly liked about that video, according to Swedenborg's recap of what he was particularly seeing, that he saw people in this particular realm that were literally thought that they were controlling everything, but in essence, they were trapped in their own created hell. Okay? So in other words, if that is where they went when they died, they're sitting up there feeling, oh, I'm controlling everything, and it's all being ran by greed, but it was literally their own trapped hell. Now, another thing that I liked about this particular video, when they were Swedenborg was describing the different cities. And I know several people that have astral traveled, and that is even including myself. When you go to these different realms, and when you astral travel a lot, you'll start to see this. You'll do it two different ways, and that's how you know when you're in different places. Now, Sis just came on, and she hit it to the head. I knew exactly what she was describing when she said she was in the fifth dimension. Everything was different. The colors, and I'm sure she could co-sign this, the colors are so bright, it just blows you back. You can smell, the air just has this very beautiful smell to it. The animals are at peace. Everything is at peace. And she is correct. Manifestation, you want something, you think it instantaneously happens. I mean, it's peaceful, it's chilling. Anybody that's been on those higher dimensional realms, you kicking it so hard, you don't even want to come back to this bitch. I mean, literally, you have to be forced back into your body because you kicking it so hard, like, wow, this is how it's supposed to be. Now, if you do other astral travel and you're just at a regular city, you know you're somewhere, but you can't identify if it's Cleveland, New York, whatever. Everything looks similar, but you know that you're in a different realm. So that is telling me that you're still operating within our same spiritual plane that we are in, on the same vibratorial state, okay? So now some of us that have traveled to these different planes that are like emulated cities that you are accustomed to, and this particular third density, sometimes you just meeting up with people, just kicking it regularly. Sometimes you may be learning something, having a conversation. You may be practicing something. You may be working something out. But the point I'm trying to make here, when you travel to these different realms, you are going to start to consciously know where you are at based on your experience. So when you go into the higher realms, it's something that I can't really even describe. I just really can't. Everything is fresher. The air smells like perfume. The colors are something that you never really seen before, versus when you are traveling within this plane, everything is really pretty much the same, except that you know that you are in a different particular plane. So my question to the family is, what do we consider the underworld? Do we consider the underworld specifically the planes that we travel in, that's condensed in what we are now? Or do we consider the underworld the higher dimensions? Or do we consider the underworld going back to the source, that dark melanin essence? So I'm going to pause before I go into a little bit of other definitions on how other folks and how some of the ancestors viewed the underworld in case somebody wanted to put something on it.
Yeah, Sister Corley told me to tell you that it's very bright and very peaceful.
I knew I didn't want to cut this off. I wanted her to get it out because when she was describing it, I knew what she was talking about. I already knew what she was talking about. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also, like when you was talking about the person that escorts them in the underworld, that brought to mind the ferryman from Clash of the Titans, where they had to give him that gold bit in order for him to take them.
That's a very good point, Brother Sean. I never thought about it like that. Very, very good point.
I think the underworld may be like a place where people who are vibrating at lower frequencies go.
I want to ask a question.
Sure thing, brother.
I believe that we are in the underworld.
Yep.
Well,
it's hell, they say.
You take a look at what is going on. We are in the underworld.
Inhale, HELL hockey sticks.
That's right. That's what they say.
Damn.
I mean, there's different levels to the underworld. We in the underworld.
Wow. Damn, brother. And I just was saying that to somebody. We were talking about something, and I said, you know what? Goddamn, what they talking about? Hell, goddamn it, we in hell.
We've been there the whole time. That's part.
We just don't know it.
That's part of the trick. They always want to say it somewhere else when you're actually already there.
Yep.
Very, 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 very interesting.
My daddy used to say that this is hell. And I used to say, what? This is so nice. It's so pretty. It's a pretty hell, but it's still hell, he said.
Wow.
You have to keep something in mind. Everything is glossed over to make you think it's something else.
That's true.
I met a lady the other day at an X-ray place, and she was talking about the fact that she died for 3 minutes and some odd seconds, and she said she went to hell. And she heard people screaming and hollering, and she was so afraid. Now, I just kind of had to back off that conversation because this is hell. And people have the ability, like they were saying on that video, to make their eternity what they believe it is.
Yep. That I believe.
Whatever you think and put your energy to, that's what you get. So obviously she's been listening to so much propaganda that she doesn't even understand that we have to work our way out of this matrix, out of this hologram. We have to start realizing it is a hologram, and we have to save ourselves. That gives us all the way back to the beginning, that we are responsible for saving ourselves. And we can't wait for anybody else to tell us how to get out. We got to find the way out, because this is the matrix. This is hell. This is boot camp.
Wow.
Damn. The trick is this. I can be wrong with 1,000 left shoes, but the trick is this.
Wait a minute, Brother Wendell. I got to get a bomb sign on this is the underworld. Just wait. I can't let that pass. Okay. I couldn't let that pass without giving the bomb sign. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, but see, the whole trick is to make you think you're somewhere else when you're really already in the position that you don't think that you're in. Yep. You understand what I'm saying? Just take a look around. Okay, you can talk to anybody who has any ounce of knowledge and about the reality that we live in. And they will say that everything operates upside down and backwards. Well, hell, why the hell could that be? There's got to be the underworld.
Yep, that's a good ass point, brother.
Because if you hear anybody describe the underworld, that's exactly what they describe it. Everything is upside down and backwards. Well, hell, that's where we at.
Damn, that's deep. I always pictured this being hell, but I never put it in the concept of the underworld.
Yeah, we'll take this for instance. We say there's beings that live on the inside of this planet. Well, that's just another level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. And you know, even if you take it back to the Christians in their defense, that's where they get the ideology of seventh heaven, right? And once I start learning and putting things in a spiritual perspective, I said, I'll be goddamn. This shit is stacked. And there's different realm levels. And folk are moving from a spiritual perspective up and down these different realms or these different heavenly, what they call heavenly levels. So like when I was talking earlier about when you astral travel and you just going to another city, you just going up to one of those other levels per se. But you're still in the matrix.
If you take that movie, The Matrix, all they were showing you is different levels. Whenever they left the ship and went somewhere, they were going to another level.
That's exactly right. And just like dude was saying that I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher this man's name. Swedenborg was saying that when he went and people were giving them keys, when he went to the different city, they was giving them keys. Now, did not in the Matrix. I think it was
They had the key maker.
The key maker. Exactly. And the key maker, you get them keys, just like you said, Brother Wendell, to go to them different levels. But at the end of the day, now correct me if I'm wrong, was Neo and them trying to motherfucking fight to get to them next levels, or were they trying to fight to break up out that bitch, period?
Yeah.
That's what the fight was about. They wasn't scrapping to say, oh, well, I'm finna beat the key maker's ass so I could go to this another level. Okay, you gonna go to the other level for what? Pretty much the same shit that you have? No, they were fighting to get out of that bitch, period. To get out of the total matrix. But the people that wanted to keep the matrix going, they wanted to control the key maker to not even let them get to those next levels. So that's the same shit that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
The same exact stuff. So that's a very good point, Brother Wendell.
But I also look at it like heaven and hell is a state of mind. They can be anywhere that we are. We're higher dimensional beings, so we are able to exist in every realm and still vibrate at a high level.
Yes, we can.
So hell is for those who choose for it to be hell.
Absolutely.
And the underworld could also be a state of mind or a form of consciousness. Someplace, like I say, where lower vibrational energies go, because their focus and thought is on lower vibrational.
That's a very good point. I'm sorry, go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Because Everything begins with the thought. Our thoughts are power. So if we're thinking that we're going to hell, we're going to create a version of hell for ourselves.
Yep. Absolutely.
If we're thinking on a higher realm, then we'll create a so-called heaven for ourselves. It's what we create. We're the creators. We create our own heaven and hell. Nobody else has that control over us.
Absolutely.
That's another place where we're giving our energy away to by falling off into their concepts of what heaven and hell is supposed to be. They paint the picture for us, and we put our energy, our thoughts and our energy into it, and we actually create
it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're backed by thought forms.
I can agree with all that. But guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Are we not all here in the same place? Are we not all here in the same place?
Yeah.
Okay. Then guess what we did collectively?
Mm-hmm.
We created our own hell, and that's where we
absolutely. We agreeing with you on that.
Now, guess what? You can go all out in space all you want to. We got to deal with where we at, because we created it. We got to deal with it, because we can't deny that we ain't here, because we on this telephone talking.
I'm denying it. I'm not here.
We created this thing because we're all here together. We witnessed that we're all here together. Now, how the hell did we create this hell? Now we got to deal with that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality.
Because what you're doing when you deny that you didn't participate in creating this, is you creating another hell. You create another level of this underworld by not admitting that you have created.
Yep.
Because if you didn't have created this, you wouldn't be here.
Yep. Now that I agree, and that's why. And I see you 661, the other 661. I'm coming to you, sweetheart. It's another 661. So I'm agreeing with you on that, brother, and that's why I've been strong on, if you are who you say you are, then you are the creator. You have the power, and you're absolutely right. We did it.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely did it.
Because guess what? Ain't no way in hell that you're going to escape it until you admit that you have created.
I agree.
That's where the escape begins. Now how do we get out of this shit?
I agree with you on that, and that's why I keep saying, this is PhD school. This ain't no kindergarten shit. For no whining. The white man this, white man that. Because if you are who you say you are, then you were the creator of this. Rather we sat back on our ass and chilled and let folks take over. It don't matter. We still created the state that this particular realm is in. Absolutely agree. Let me bring on the other 661. Here we go. 661, your line is open.
Peace and love, sister. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you, beloved?
I'm doing fine. I got a day off work, so I can say this.
Oh,
but I
cool.
just wanted to,
you can come play with us then.
I just wanted to say this is why Marduk got locked in the portals and couldn't get off the land. Because they locked him in hell. And I heard from a scholar, and I'm watching him right now. I've been watching him for a few days, and it's Phil Valentine. He said the Milky Way is a portal. And it was an infraction done somewhere with the planets and us, or something we've done. And so it's some type of portal, and it's sealed right now. So you can't get in and you can't get out. So this is why we're having all these problems right now. And he's talking about three density. He's talking about spatial distortions. He's talking about the plasmic barriers that we enter. He's talking about a lot of stuff on this video that I'm watching. And I see why they got mad at their father, the two brothers, and locked him on this earth. So what Marduk did, he made himself God in many different forms on this earth. So he made the best out of his hell. Created, recreated, manipulated, everything that he can possibly think of. And so even though we are in a different age right now, there is still a remnant of his behavior left on this planet. And that's all I got to say.
Wow. Well, thank you for that, brother. I'm going to leave your mic open for a little bit as, you know, I put something on it in case somebody else want to put something on it. That's a very interesting point that you bring up. You know, like I said, we did the series on the Lost Book of Inky, and Brother Wendell laid that shit out. And I'm going to really work on trying to, Brother Wendell, replay those Lost Book of Inky through the week. I'm going to try to figure that shit out. But anyhow, when, you know, we were studying that Lost Book of Inky, we literally saw how the Anunnaki, when they came to this particular plane, how they set up the language system, took away the language system, the reason they took the language system away. We even tied back the Holy Bible, how when it talked about a God, quote, quote, speaking, which Anunnaki was putting themselves up to be that, quote, quote, God, when they were talking about the Lord said this, etc., we trace back to which individual Anunnaki that they were really referring to. So when you are saying that we're still dealing with the remnants of what Marduk did, that also goes for some of the other Anunnaki who were on this plane fighting. You know, we're still under, and I call it a motherfucking spell, because at the end of the goddamn day, that's what it is. It's a spell, you know, that folks are under with these systems.
Right.
These systems of it, the religion, you know, now, you know, folks have got turned off from the religion, so they moving on the spirituality side, and so now some folks are being tricked into going under that system.
Right.
So I totally agree with you on what you're saying on that.
In reality, you have to use all systems. You have to use Hindu. You have to use Taoism. You have to use all the systems to understand the foundation of all this stuff. And then you have to use your spiritual. You have to use your spiritual intuitive too. Just like the sister stated that she said the fifth dimension. There's more than 5 dimensions, but you know that's a whole nother story.
Right.
I've seen things in visions and dreams, just as many others have seen in visions and dreams. I've seen, and I was telling my mother, I've seen the earth shaking and it was covering with water, and the people were screaming and they were scared. And while they were screaming and they were petrified, the water would cover them, and then ice would cover over on top of them. And it was all the people that were out there screaming Jesus, 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 and they all got taken away.
That's very interesting.
It depends on what you've seen, what you analyzed in your dreams, because they are your chapter of your repeats. Whatever dimension we were in, we could have been in the dimension of us floating in the air. Who knows what dimension we were? You're reliving that dream. See, we're in the lower dimension, but we're moving higher because you notice that moon is getting a little close.
Oh yeah, you know we talks about the moon. I watches the moon on the regular. she flipped back, brother. When I don't know if you noticed, but the little crescent was back on the opposite side. And I'm like,
I've been telling you that. I've been telling you that.
Attention.
Hey, look here. I want to say something about being locked here. Mm-hmm. Did I not tell y'all while we were studying the Lost Book of Enki how we got locked here?
Okay, just retell us. I know I'm going to remember when you say it because we cover so doggone much, but just retell us, brother.
When the Zodiac was created, that's how the hell we got locked here.
Yep, doggone it, Joe said it. Yes, you did.
Yeah, like the Milky Way. Yeah.
You sure
That's how
said.
we got locked here. When that Zodiac got created, that's how we got locked here. In other words, Enki foresaw what was going to happen. He created that Zodiac so that when Marduk went to act the fool, he locked his ass here and everything out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have these problems till this day.
To this day.
And then we have these multiple creations. Some were created by dogs, cats, monkey man, lion, zebra. And you can see it on the structures of the people. It doesn't matter what race it is. There's some brothers that look straight like apes. And then you have some brothers that look normal. Look here.
So, look here. I'm going to show you how things got so confused. I was doing some research on, I forget what I was researching that day, but I ran across a zebra. I mean, not a zebra, but a giraffe.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what that animal is a cross of?
Oh, the giraffe is crossed up with something?
Yeah, all of them.
A giraffe is a cross between a camel and a leopard. Look at it.
How the hell it get so tall?
Because they've done so much genetic manipulation. That's what Enki and them were doing. They were genetic manipulation. They were using animals and human DNA and just manipulating everything on this planet. Now, one thing has not been touched on this planet.
You have to remember something. In the Lost Book of Enki, they brought sheep and goats and all that stuff down here. Well, where the hell did all this other stuff come from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fell in love with the project.
There was other travelers here, too. Other entities from other dimensions or other universes came here as well to do their experiments here. So
and guess what? When Enki created that Zodiac, everything got locked here.
Everything got locked in. They can't even get out.
Call it the prison planet. So, interestingly enough, when I dropped that article that I shared with the family earlier about the movie that they were going to make on Anunnaki, and they stopped it, and so somebody made the comment, well, that this planet was seeded. And so I came back on the comment and said, well, that the ancient ones were the ones that seeded it. And, we are the ancestors returned. So I'm saying all that to say, if we are, or you are who you say you are, then obviously you had to be a part. You played some particular part in that whole shenanigans that was going on when this planetary system was set up. If you are who you say you are.
Now, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where the hell were we returning from?
Good question.
Yeah, what you mean by returning from?
Well, you said the ancient ones returned. Well, where the hell are we returning from? Because we locked here. we just got different levels on this plane. We ain't been nowhere.
Yeah, but that's why we've returned. we're reincarnating. We keep coming back because we can't get out.
But what I'm saying is, where did we return from? Just another level on the same plane because we got locked here a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, well, we're saying the same thing. We're just saying it in different ways.
You ain't been nowhere.
Recycled energy. Yeah, just recycled energy.
Yeah, we're saying the exact same thing. What I'm saying is that, you know, you have to take it back before this plane was even invented. If you are who you say you are, you was way back then in the ethers, okay? And then you participated in the creation of this plane. You participated in the shenanigans with making the decision to come to the physical, create the lower dimensions, and however many levels, whether it be 7, whether it be more than 7, and the shit started jumping off. It got so bad that the shit had to be contained.
Okay, now let's ask this question. Who's to say that the ethers ain't part of this underworld?
Okay, that's the point. That's the point.
Well, it's true we have dimensional people walking among us that we can't see because they're vibrating at a faster level than we are. So maybe those people or those entities are the ethers, and they watch us because, you know, I know that I have about 5 of them around me. So they watch us and they stay with us.
They don't have a choice but to stay with us because their ass is locked here too.
Yeah.
So then, if that's the case,
they just on another level. We all here.
But if we're locked here, who in the fuck locked us here?
The only information we have is Inky when he built that damn Zodiac.
Well, the way that I look at it, considering we are the creators,
right?
I mean, how is Inky or anybody else gonna keep us trapped here? It's voluntary. We voluntarily trap ourselves here. I mean, I look at the whole Inky and the Neil story just like all the rest of the other stuff. We're pure energy. We've always existed. Didn't nobody create us? Now, either Inky and them, either they are part of the all or there's something different.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. Either they are part of the all, or they're on that demigod level that we discussed. But if we are who we say we are,
or we're the branch of the Anunnaki.
Okay.
What do you mean by branch?
No, I said the branch of the Anunnaki.
Yeah, but let's ask this question. We got a question in there, though. How the hell do we allow this shit to happen if we are those that we say we are? How do we allow it to happen? If we didn't want it to happen, how do we allow that to happen?
Because
now what we're talking about now is not responsibility but accountability. That's a big difference.
The oracles are the prophets, and let's use the scriptures, Old Testament, as a term. Since we didn't obey according to whatever story it may be, the prophets or the oracles are given the authority to disperse conversation amongst us. So whatever curse that oracle was given to speak out to us amongst us, we chose to either listen or to not listen. Many of us went separate directions. So we are reliving the dimensions of the oracles because the oracles travel into many dimensions. Say, for instance, that movie 300. They talked about the oracles. And when the man had to go all the way up to the mountain to go talk to him to get the word to make sure he won the battle. Mm-hmm. Well, since we didn't follow the orders that were given to us, these are the problems that are happening till this day. Say, for instance, if we can go back to the Pangea, if the whole planet was all together at that point, then that whole story of the Bible would make a little more sense. One tribe went here, one went over here, one dispersed here, one went this way, one went that way. Then the earthquake happened, and then there was the division. So we can look at it that way too, but I don't know.
Okay,
so
wait,
now,
pause a second, Brother Wendell. So let me, Brother Sean, I know you want to get in the point, and then we're going to go back to Brother Wendell. Or maybe you didn't want to get in the point.
Yeah, I did. Point that I was getting to is we are the creators. That means we created everything. And like they say, we fail because we fell in love with the things that we created. And we also created things that we shouldn't have. The only thing that we didn't obey was universal law. That's the only thing we're supposed to obey, not some other being. We are the all. We are the creator. The only thing we're supposed to obey is universal law.
Universal law. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We stepped outside of universal law and we failed. And we still stuck here because we still remain outside of universal law.
Now the question is, who gave us the universal laws?
No. The question is, why the hell do we? The question is, why the hell do we break our own law? Because if we the creators, we created universal law.
Right.
Now we gotta find that out. Why did we do that? Because if we're the creators, then we created universal law and we broke our own law and we condemned ourselves. Now, how the hell did we get out of that? Why did we do that? Why did we got? The question is why.
I guess it's the same reason why we keep violating our own laws now.
Man.
I just asked the question.
That's a good conversation.
Definitely. I'm just saying it's basically the same reason why we're doing it now. Because we failed. We're vibrating at lower frequencies. I mean, it wasn't exactly the zodiac that locked us in first. It was the use of language, period, irregardless of what language it was. Because we didn't communicate in none of these languages because we existed before all of these languages. And when we started using languages and describing things, we put ourselves in a box. You can't put a name on the unnameable. You can't describe the undescribable. I mean, all people can do is try and equate words with something to try and make it more understandable. But some things ain't meant to be understood as humans. That's those other things is on God level. Like Elro was saying, this ain't elementary school. This is PhD stuff.
Yeah, it is. Even the PhDs have to ask that. Let me show you how you become a PhD. You ask the question why until you run out of why. That's how you become a PhD. I don't care what it is. You can become a PhD in just looking if you just keep asking that question why until you run out.
Yeah, but why for each person is different because we all have our own paths. We all have our own mistakes.
That's correct. But I'm guaranteeing you one thing. You take your whys and I take my whys. And let's keep asking ourselves why until we run out.
Oh, yeah. Believe me, I do that every day.
Yeah. That's a very good point, Brother Wendell. That's a good point.
As long as you keep asking that question why, you ask that question why until you can't ask that question again, and then you done.
Right, but isn't that all about going into self? That's asking yourself the why, right?
That's right. Exactly. So you shouldn't be asking nobody else on this planet why other than yourself.
Absolutely.
Now you gotta, and that's like saying, why did the Most High or the divine energy create melanin?
Wait a minute. I thought we were the creators.
That's what I'm saying. You see?
Hey, that's the conversation I've been hearing. You know what I'm saying? Now, I listen real good. That's the
Well, I mean, you all certainly can believe what you want to believe, but again, if you are who you say you are, what people choose to believe they are, that's not my place to tell them. I know who I am. Okay, now I say I come from the all within all. I don't say that the all within all was created. I just say it is what it is. I can't even describe it. It is just there. So how can I describe something that's just there?
I think we got to get kind of confused on semantics because we didn't verbalize. So we can't use verbal language to understand the beginning.
I can guarantee you one thing. If you have listened to me enough, I don't play that semantics game.
Yeah, but
I can guarantee you that. What I do is ask the hard questions.
Yeah, but Inky and Anu and Enlil and all of them knew there was something higher than them. Because even they knew Gal was sent from that.
Yeah.
They knew that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they knew that. But guess what?
What?
We're in a lower position than they're in. So,
yeah, we are lower than they are now because we got trapped on this bird.
So now let's ask the question. If we know we are lower than they are, how the hell have we become creators?
That's somebody else's story. I'm sticking to mine.
Wait just a minute.
Okay, wait a minute. You say we're lower than them.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now, wait. Now, I wasn't the one who said that. I asked the question.
Yeah.
Somebody else said that. Now, I'm asking the question. If we're lower than them, how the hell are we created?
Well, you're not asking me that question because I didn't say I was lower than them.
I want to know. I just heard somebody say that. I ain't going to say who said it. I'm just asking the question.
Well, you know what? According to the storyline, they knew that somebody was higher than them.
That is correct. So, in other words, according to the theme of the conversation, which is we are the creators, then, in other words, they were saying that we are higher than them.
That who's higher than them?
We are.
Oh, I see where you're going.
I've been hearing that we are the creators. So if they recognize that there was a higher power, if you can call it whatever you want to call it.
Okay, I'm gonna put my 2 cents on it, and people can take it for whatever they want to take it. Again, I say, if you are who you say you are. So again, this is an individual journey. I'm stating who I am. So now, whether or not you want to believe you higher than this one, you lower than that one, I can't make that choice for anyone. I keep saying if you are who you say you are. So I'm stating who I am. Now, whether you want to call that Elohim, with the all, within all, that's on you. But what I am saying, no being is higher than me. I come from the all within all. Now, that is what Rhonda is saying. Now, what someone else chooses to believe, that's their business.
Okay, let me ask this question. Who created the all in all?
Nobody. It just
Man,
is.
I'd be rich if I could answer that one.
It just is.
Well, what? Okay. Well, how long has it just been? Just is. What is the origin of just is?
Yeah.
The same origin that your Anunnaki came from.
How could that be?
What do you mean? How can that be?
How could that be?
Did
They ain't the origin.
Did you not say?
They're not the origin. Well, how could they?
No. You're misunderstanding me. You're misunderstanding me. Listen, if you say the Anunnaki said there is something higher than them, right? Or did you not say that?
They recognize that.
Okay. So they said there is something higher than them. I'm assuming that they mean that's the all within all.
Well, look, a PhD don't assume nothing. A PhD
well,
gonna
you know what?
A PhD gonna ask why until they get the answer.
Okay, then. Well, that's what I'm going to assume. So you assume whatever you want to assume, but that's what I'm going to assume. I'm not under no motherfucking Anunnaki. I don't answer to an Anunnaki. If that's your truth, fine. That's not my truth. I don't answer to them. I get the story. I understand the story. They're no higher than I am. Now, that's my truth.
And also, to me, any being outside of self that wants you to worship it is a damn energy vampire. Period. They've been beating off of people.
I agree with that.
Their thought forms, they never physically existed. And we get energy and power with them.
I agree with that 100%. But I can guarantee you one thing: you can play back any video, you can play back any recording. You've never ever hear me or heard me say I worship anything.
No, and I'm not saying that you do. I'm just making it clear that I don't feel that I'm below them. No, I'm not below them.
Okay.
Now that's my truth. I don't feel that I'm below them.
That's good.
Not all the motherfucking mistakes they've made. Now I'm just going by their particular information that was put out. Mm-hmm. They're the same beings that came to this planet, set up a system, and pretty much fought each other, and then pretty much wanted folks to worship them. No, I don't think so. Now that's my truth. So, okay then. Let me see where we're going to go next. Okay, so just real quick, we're probably going to have to do a part 2. There is what other religions have called the underworld. They're saying it's a nether world, is an other world thought to be deep underground or beneath the surface of the world in most religions and mythologies. Typically, it is a place where the souls of the departed go in an afterlife or a realm of the dead. So, you can, interestingly enough, I kind of always start with Wikipedia just to get a feel of what the general populace categorizes something. And so you have a bunch of different cultures, per se, that give what the definition of underworld is. So what struck me, interestingly enough, was that the Mesoamerican culture and indigenous culture of the Americas. Now, those of us that have studied this, if you have been particularly on this show, whenever you hear that indigenous cultures of the Americas, you know that they're talking about the melanated people that were on these lands originally. And so they were just pretty much saying that particular indigenous culture of America, they viewed the particular underworld is like, they put it in the concept of a world of trees. And they used a lot of mythical cosmologies to describe what the underworld is, particularly is. And so they also go into talking about how the city of the Mayan ruins were also set up, and we know this for those of us that were studied, it was set up to map out the cosmos. And they also set it up to mirror the underworld as well. And that also goes in the concept of as above, so below. And so it says that the central tree or the world trees embody the four cardinal directions, which represented also the fourfold nature of central world tree, a symbolic axis mundi connecting the plains of the underworld and the sky with that of the terrestrial world. So interestingly enough, the way they are describing this, that the indigenous cultures of the Americas were viewing the underworld is basically actually what we've been talking about tonight. The entire plane, okay? So the top of the plane, you have the cosmos going on. So on the plane that we're on now, on the physical plane, they built all of these building structures to mirror or match up what the cosmos were doing, and they also were allegedly and supposedly matching up that underworld terrestrial on the bottom as well from a spirit perspective. And so it just goes on to say that cultures such as the Aztecs, and anybody that studies knows that that's still the indigenous folks, the Mayans, and the Olmecs. So it was real interesting I had never really heard of the particular Americas going into the underworld, and that was my first concept, basically, of them using the tree, and they depict it when they talk about the tree. And so from now on, when you see a picture of a tree and you see a picture of like a regular tree, and then below it or underground you see that same mirror tree, that is representing the underworld. So they're really saying a mirror of as above, so below. So whenever from now on you see that, just know that that is them depicting what the Americas culture, how they visualize what the underworld is. And then they also go into say, and it's interesting because brother was talking about it, that the central world tree has also been interpreted as a representation of the band of the Milky Way. So that was interesting when you were talking about the brother Phil Valentine was saying that the Milky Way was really what trapped, quote, quote, us in this particular plane. And so it says a common theme in most indigenous cultures of the Americas is a concept of directionality, the horizontal and vertical planes, with the vertical dimensions often being represented by a world tree. Some scholars have argued that the religion importance of a horizontal and vertical dimensions is in many other cultures and may derive from the human body and the position it occupies in the world as it perceives the surrounding living world. Many indigenous cultures of the Americas have similar cosmologies regarding the directionality of the world tree. However, the type of tree representing the world depends on the surrounding environment. For many indigenous American people located in more temperate regions, for example, it is a spruce rather than a ceiba that is the world tree. However, the idea of cosmic directions combined with the concept of a tree uniting the directional plane is similar. Okay, so that is kind of a high-level overview of how the indigenous Americas view the underworld. I'm sure it goes a lot deeper than that. I know when we were studying the Lost Book of Enki, it talked about them coming to the South Americas and setting up, I can't remember if it was a spaceport, but I know somebody supposedly had a home there. And that's what kind of sparked that whole South America Mayan region, which we all know that South America region, from a pyramid perspective, is older than what they are calling Kemet now. So I'll pause in case somebody else want to put something on it, and then we're going to go to the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Okay.
I remember that Phil Valentine video. What he said about the Milky Way was that it was actually used as a suture, that the water was pouring in from above the firmament. The Milky Way was used to fill the firmament, not necessarily to fill us in, to stop the water from coming in. And that's where the story of the Great Flood allegedly came from.
Okay, that makes sense. So, brother, did you order that video off of, because I think when we talked, you said you was going to order the complete video because the part that I played on the show was only a snippet of it.
Yes, I ordered the whole video. I'm still watching it. And on this video, he was talking, it was the Mandela defect or Mandela effect, and he's talking about that actually on there, and he did not say too much about it being that, as what this brother just said, but it does have some kind of correlation with a transitional thing that happened in time. So
okay.
But I'm still watching the video. It's pretty good. He done broke down CERN down to the rooter to the tutor. He said
okay.
He said CERN was the symbols that they used on the Twilight Zone, the Outer Limits. They always had it showing in the background. He also even pointed out that Mecca, if you look at Mecca from the top, it's the same image of CERN. And then he also pointed out that CERN, the word CERN, is actually the god of the underworld. And
exactly. I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say, because isn't the CERN right outside of their headquarters? Isn't that Shiva?
I think, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Shiva, one of the mythology gods or energies or demigods of the underworld.
And do you remember too? Last year or year before that, there was a whole bunch of people that died in Saudi Arabia because they touched the. I guess it was the Ark. They found the Ark, and they had it in the middle of Saudi Arabia, and it sent an electric energy through the whole. A lot of people in the crowd, and they died. And this is in the same. This is the same spot where, if you look at the top image of the whole entire image of Mecca, it looks just like CERN. So somewhere down the line, we keep recreating CERN all over the planet. And he also pointed out that with all these spatial distortions that are going on all in the planet, they had major meltdowns all over the planet, and they had to cover up these meltdowns because they keep trying to recreate the CERN images. I think there was some Tokyo video. I don't watch that stuff, but it was some Tokyo stuff. They were showing in the background of the pictures of CERN, Everything that they're really trying to tell us to desensitize us, so when it really comes to fruition, they're trying to say that they're still trying to bend time, alter time, but they can't stop time. So they can go back and try to slow it down a little bit, but you can't stop it. So that's what they're doing. I also even heard that, I don't know if this is even true, they said Donald Trump, when I guess there was his Trump Towers had an electric shock to him sometime last year. So some thunder or lightning hit the building, and somebody said that Donald Trump teleported. I was like, okay. So maybe if there's a possibility that it could be so, because they are using these mechanisms to control the universe so they can maintain power for the short period of time. Because they have to continue to keep bending it and bending it and bending it and bending it until they feel that they have established enough. So they're using quantum physics and cosmologies and scientific whatever they're doing. And so this is what Dr. Phil is pretty much pointing out, and he puts everything in perspective on the Mandela defect. He said there was about 4, maybe 3 or 4 different types of Mandelas. There was the warrior Mandela, there was the politician Mandela, and there was that old brother that everybody admired at towards the end, and they said that he died in the 1980s, which he did. I remember him dying in the 80s. So
yeah, I don't remember that story, and I find fascinating that other people specifically remember him dying in the 80s, but I wasn't paying attention. I was young back then, but.
Well, I think we've seen him on TV so much. I mean, when I was in high school and stuff, they always had him on TV. I mean, he was on TV all the time, and I do remember him dying a long time ago. And then they started recreating because they have been cloning, and they said that the outer space, the thing that goes to what's that movie? I just said the movie's name. Twilight Zone. They're giving you the instructions on that they already had the CERN since the 1930s.
And they perfected it? I mean, if they've had it since the 30s.
Well, the only thing that they're able to do right now is just bend time. They're not able to stop it. Because you can't stop. See, that's why you have clay tablets. You have oracles. That's what I was saying. You can't change what has already been predestined. You can only slow it down, but you can't change it, because once it's fulfilled and put into words or spells, it's official. And the language that was done back then was the true language, that it came out of those oracles of those prophets. So you can't change it. I don't care what they do. They can jump off 5,000 roofs and do it over again and jump off again and then jump again. They can't stop it. They can only slow it down.
Okay, so hold that thought, because that goes into Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now, what I'm about to go through, I never knew this was the true thing of Egyptian Book of the Dead. I was thinking something totally different. Now, when you said spells, hold that thought. Now, this came out of a publication, it was 2016, and it's literally called Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's by somebody named Joshua J. Mark. And I'll drop this on Truth Uncompromised page for you all to take a look at it. So it says the Egyptian Book of the Dead is a collection of spells which enable the soul of the deceased to navigate the afterlife. The famous title was given by the work by Western scholars. The actual title translate as the book of coming forth by day, or spells for going forth by day. Although the work is often referred to as the ancient Egyptian Bible, it is no such thing. Although the two works share the similarity of being ancient compilation of texts written at different times, eventually gathered together in book form. The Book of the Dead was never codified, and no two copies of the work are exactly the same. They were created specifically for each individual who could afford to purchase one as a kind of manual to help them after death. So Egyptologist Geraldine Pinch explains, the Egyptian Book of the Dead is a term coined in the 19th century for a body of text known to the ancient Egyptians as the spells for going forth by day. After the Book of the Dead was first translated by Egyptologists, it gained a place in the popular imagination as the Bible of ancient Egyptians. The comparison is very inappropriate. The Book of the Dead was not the central holy book of Egyptian religion. It was just one of the series of manuals composed to assist the spirits of the elite dead to achieve and maintain a full afterlife. The afterlife was considered to be a continuation of life on earth, and after one had passed through various difficulties and judgment in the hall of truth, a paradise which was perfect reflection of one's life on earth. After the soul has been justified in the hall of truth, it passed on to cross over Lily Lake to rest in the field of reeds, where one would find all that one had lost in life and could enjoy it eternally. In order to reach that paradise, however, one needed to know where to go, how to address certain gods, and what to say at certain times, and how to comport oneself in the land of the dead, which is why one would find an afterlife manual extremely useful. Let me see. Okay, so I don't want to read all of that. I'm going to try to go get the good parts because I don't want to tie it all the way up so we can get into something else as well. So it says, other spells and misconceptions. There were quite a number of slips the soul might make. However, between the arrival at the Hall of Truth and the boat ride to paradise, the Book of the Dead includes spells for any kind of circumstance, but it does not seem one was guaranteed to survive these twists and turns. Egypt has a long history, and with any culture, beliefs changed in time, changed back, and then changed again. Not every detail described above was included in the vision of every era of Egyptian history. In some periods, the modifications are minor, while in other, the afterlife is seen as a perilous journey towards a paradise that is only temporary. At some points in the culture, the way to paradise was very straightforward, and after the soul was justified by Osiris, while in others, crocodiles might thwart the soul or bends in the road prove dangerous, or demons appear to trick or even attack. In these cases, a soul needed spells to survive and reach paradise. Spells included in the book included titles such as for repelling a crocodile which comes to take away, for driving off a snake, for not being eaten by a snake in the realm of the dead, for not dying again in the realm of the dead, for being transformed into a divine falcon, for being transformed into a lotus, for being transformed into a phoenix, and so on. The spells of the transformation have become known through popular allusions to the book in television and film production, which has resulted in the misguided understanding that the Book of the Dead is some kind of magical Harry Potter type of work which ancient Egyptians once used for mystical rites. The Book of the Dead, as noted, was never used for magical transformation on earth. The spells only worked in the afterlife. The claim that the Book of the Dead was some kind of sorcery text is wrong and unfounded as the comparison with the Bible. Okay, so, I found that interesting. Number one, I did not know that that's what the Book of the Dead really was. I did not know that people went, specifically the quote, elite, went to the high priest, or I'm imagining the oracles, because most people equate the high priest to the oracles in that particular time, to write these particular spells to navigate in the afterlife. So if you read the article throughout, they kind of tell you all of the twists and turns that you supposedly, allegedly need to do to navigate in this quote, quote, underworld. And once again, it involves knowing the doggone password to get through this particular gate or to get to this particular house and to appease these particular gods. So as I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, so now we're back to this same thing where you're supposedly in this underworld and you have to get permission from a quote, quote, God to navigate in a different house, when in reality and in essence, you're still in the same realm and you're still subjecting yourself, if you subscribe to that particular ideology, you're still leaving your particular journey on the spiritual realm to getting some other being's permission to navigate through that particular realm. So I found that interesting on the whole concept of the Book of the Dead. So I'll pause in case somebody else want to put something on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, words are frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of reaching a certain frequency to reach those places. And if we're sitting up following a spell that somebody else created.
That somebody else created now, not some
right.
shit that you created yourself, that you are capable of creating yourself. But I'm sorry, go ahead on.
Yes, I mean, exactly who is it you're giving your energy over to when you say that incantation? And
to the God
really
that you're asking their permission. Exactly.
And what goes along with that incantation besides what's basically said? I mean, what else is implied in that? In order to go over into that realm, what is it you're giving up? Because you would have to lower yourself from your higher state of being to be subjected to some other being.
Right. And to me, you're giving up your sovereignty. If you are you're navigating through this underworld and you're going to this other being, asking them for permission, then aren't you subjecting yourself to them getting their permission to walk through that particular realm? That's the way I look at it. So to me, it's the same mentality as, you know, having a Jesus in the sky. Now that's just the way I look at it.
Exactly.
So that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, they got you praying the beings outside of self.
The underworld part, what I was saying, they use the form of the god of the underworld from the Celtic culture because, you know, they stole our identity and now they're the true Celtics all of a sudden. But anyway.
Right.
The underworld is symbolizing Osiris.
Mm-hmm. And they talk about him in the Book of the Dead. Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you go to Mecca or you create a CERN imagery, it's the eye of Osiris which you're actually going through, the portals. Because he's the god that controls the underworld. And I know we say that this is hell, but like we said, there's other dimensions of hell too. Now, this may be the physical hell in our eyes, but the other person on the other side may think it's the physical hell over there. So we don't know what level is what, but there are different levels.
Right.
And so I think what they do when they go to Mecca, they harness the energy of the melanated beings. and they use the same imagery of CERN there because it pulls a polarity or pulls us through another portal. Now, I could be wrong, but this is what I'm looking at it as, because if you it's like when you go to church or you go to a Baptist church, let's use Baptist for example, or Pentecostal. The preachers harness the energy of the crowd.
Absolutely.
So if you have a whole circle of people praying to or meditating on an image that could be the possible ark, the energy probably didn't appreciate it at that time when they got destroyed, or they just had to leave at that particular time and place because they harnessed the energy. We don't know what really took place at that time when those people passed away in Saudi Arabia, but we know something happened. And so now we have to navigate through why did they create Mecca like CERN? Why are all the Europeans going around putting CERNs and Parises and all these places, and they trying to emulate the same place as Mecca? Now we have to figure out why. Why would they go? Now we're going into the PhD level. Why?
Yeah, it's energy. I mean you answered your own question, and before I forget the point, and I'm not trying to dodge what you're saying. When you said they're harnessing the Osiris energy, let's talk about that, because they also talked about that in the Book of the Dead, that when, folk had this little spell that they had to have the right combination of the goddamn spell. So when they got to Osiris, they got the password to basically pass through the right gate to live good in the underworld. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. When we were studying the Lost Book of Enki, which Anunnaki was representing Osiris? I know one of them Anunnaki, I can't remember their name. One of those Anunnaki was representing Osiris. So I'm saying all this. Oh, okay. But Osiris, but isn't Osiris still like a Kemet name? That's the Anunnaki name? That's the Anunnaki name? Okay. I don't know why I thought it was a different name. Okay, so my point being, that is still you as an individual worshiping another being. Everybody, running around, the power of Osiris, this, that, and the other. That is still you ciphering the energy of that particular being. So that's the point I wanted to make about Osiris. Let's get back on this CERN motherfucking shit. First of all, we should already know why they're standing up CERN. It's to replicate these different realms. These particular demigods, their offspring, want to open up portals so they can jump in and out and create their own world. And like you said, brother, I'm kind of agreeing with you on what you said of them trying to manipulate the current realm to keep folks at the state and the low third density matrix, to keep ciphering the energy.
Right.
It's all about energy. That's what this all is about.
Right.
It's to cipher energy.
Right, I mean, if you think about Mecca,
and did you know?
Think about Mecca, the Mecca across seas. I'm not talking about the Mecca here, the original Mecca that was Chicago, but the Mecca over there. Look how many Muslims go there and do that circle around that cube.
That's a lot of energy.
And they say that cube is like a portal or some type of receiver or something.
Right.
I mean, they could be just extracting all that energy from there, from all those people.
Because isn't it like millions at a time that are circling around that Mecca cube, if I remember properly? That's a lot of energy.
That's a lot of energy,
they
and that's
saying they shit up
that's
and
a lot of
cipher
melanated
energy off of that? Exactly, because even most of the folk over that's ciphering around that, they are partly melanated beings. So hell yeah, that's a lot of energy there.
Yeah.
That cube is like a big transistor.
Now I'm gonna go with you on that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they have them circle around it 7 times. Each person is to make a trip around it 7 times.
7 times. Absolutely. And you and I know that's part of whether or not you want to say it's a spell, or that's part of, really, I would say, the metaphysics science is the reason why they coded in their religion to go around that damn thing 7 times.
Or that could be part of it, or it could deal with the ethers, or it could deal with the Elohim, because wasn't there 7 of each? And we do still base our theories on the Anunnaki or the creation story as well. So,
So isn't that going back to those 7 Elohim, the Anunnaki, setting themselves up as the motherfucking God?
Woo! Yep.
That's just the bottom line. And when you see it for what it is, now some of them, especially if you went through the Lost Book of Enki, you saw it, because Enki saw the messed upness about it and wanted to clear his name. Like, yeah, I know this was jacked up. But that's basically what that was about. Them coming to this plane, setting themselves up as the motherfucking gods.
Yeah. Harnessing the energy.
Exactly.
Trying to get through the portal. Right.
But then, like how we also know that people think that certain names in the scriptures and in books was referring to individuals, when it's been said that it was actually referring to nations of people. So, I mean, as far as for the squabble between Enki and Anil, that could have been part of our fallout. Part of us fighting
could have
each
been.
other.
And I always thought, to be real honest, the story of the Anunnaki, once I sat back and reflected on it, that's why I said, no, them motherfuckers ain't above me. Because I believe that we all came from that source, created some shit, and started fighting each other. Now, that's just my belief. Now, yeah, and in the process of that, we created other beings. But to me, that's what it's all been about. We created these different worlds, and then one group pissed with the other group, tried to take control, and that's what it's always been about. The agreeables fighting the disagreeable.
And especially when we left our matriarchal society and embraced the patriarchal society. Exactly.
Because even the system that the Anunnaki set up, it was a matriarch society. It's the same shit that we're living under now. And that's against natural law. It's supposed to be a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because weren't they supposed to leave and not to come back again, and then they stayed here and they kept staying, and they were just supposed to teach us and then leave, and then they came here and set themselves up as gods on the planet?
Right. They were supposed to teach and leave.
Yeah.
So, of course, you got other beings that kept coming back to this planet or stayed on this planet for that purpose. It's a motherfucking imbalance.
Exactly.
So, damn, y'all, we're going to have to take this into next week because we still didn't even get through. We're going to go through a little bit of Hinduism, and we was going to get into Shiva. And Brahma, the brother that called in and was giving his testimony on, he thought he was in the afterlife. I heard him say Brahma. So we're going to get into a little bit of that next week. We're going to talk a little briefly. Shoot, we can't do it. What's next week's date? Because we got a special guest coming up. We can't do it next week. We're going to have to do it the week after, because we actually have next week as a special guest my boy Will Kapoor. He will be a guest on the show, and we're going to be chopping it up about the goddess. So we'll have to table this, and we'll come back the week after to wrap up the underworld, the spiritual world, and death. Because I want to get into some of these bloodlines, going into the ciphering off of energy and unwanted energy. So I'm going to wrap down real quick. We haven't had the chance to do this in a while to get everybody some last thoughts. So, sis, you have any last words you want to put on it?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was just chilling. But, yeah, and they tell you straight out front, we're enslaved for our energy. They're not hiding it. We're just the ones too dense. I can't say dumb, but we're dense that we don't hear them saying they're taking our energy.
Yep.
And we need to believe them. We need to believe them.
Exactly.
And they're using it to get back and forth through these portals, I'm sure.
Right. And if they are all that in a motherfucking bag of chips, why do you need my shit?
Yeah, they don't have it. I think that Rockefeller dude, he knew when he was going to die, because that CERN, I'm sure, is operating to bring him back and forth and clone him and whatever they're going to do with his butt when they get him.
Yeah, but that's pretty much, I think, a done deal, because he looked such a hot-ass mess. If you look at any of these quote folks in power, they look like the goddamn Walking Dead anyway. That's a wrap.
Yeah, they do.
Shit, they didn't have the energy to keep their shit together while they was on the physical. So that's it.
That's why they're using everybody else's hearts.
Exactly. So he didn't have enough melanated bodies to keep it up. This particular time. So. Okay, so, brother, I'm just going to call you Brother Jay, because I never pronounce your name properly. You have any last words you want to put on it for the family?
Peace and love. Thank you. I enjoyed talking with everybody. Wendell, I like his theories.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And let's just keep pushing. Like I said, absolutely. I can only get on here when I'm not working. So I got lucky today. And you know what's crazy? I went to work, and I logged in, and we have to get credentials because I work in the pharmacy. And the credential said I am. That was my number. I said, ain't that something?
Seemed like you were being spoken to. That's right. You are.
So, just keep moving forward. Like I said, keep channeling into that other dimension and recreating this whole storyline so we can get these old heathens off this land. And we can't do it in the physical as much as we can do it in our sleep.
Exactly, the spiritual realm.
The spiritual realm. The priests, priestesses, the hierarchy, the ones that are listening, channel into your sleep so we can get this mess out of here. I mean, the physical body has a hold. It can't do as much as you can do in your sleep. That's what they were trying to tell us in the Matrix, that we need to hook our minds up to the universe and then exercise that power.
Absolutely. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Thank you, brother. It was a pleasure having you on tonight. Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
We have to go within to get out. We have to stop giving our energy away to anything outside of self. And like the guy was saying when he was talking about how self-love was a negative. That's a matter of perspective. As one that truly understands the love of self and understands that includes others.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we're here for a matter of self, as you say, if we are who we say we are, then we are all one.
Yep.
And we have to get back to that unity.
Indeed. Okay, Brother Wendell, you have any last words for the family?
Don't forget to keep asking yourself why.
Excellent point. Absolutely. And the key is asking yourself why. Very good point, Brother Wendell. Very, very good point. So they're going to cut us off, family. Thank you so much.